Hey, party peeps! Oh man, we're back again. Another Fallout Equestria reading. Man, that's just crazy. Who could have asked for so much reading? Just give me a minute here. Give me just a sec. For my pain into the archaeological door. That's not the right terms at all. Hi peeps, what's shaking? What's going on? Well, chapter 19 today. Oh, I'll start in like 2 minutes here or something. Probably even less than that. No, welcome back, folks. Some familiar faces. Now, this is chapter 19, and it's labeled as betrayal. So, if I'm gonna be completely honest, I'm a little concerned. This could be a troubling chapter. We might lose a character. If anything, though, I feel like Steelhooves is gonna be up to no good. Hi, hello. Oh, it's okay, no problem. We all miss crud. It happens. I don't blame you. Okay. What? Oh my goodness, hello. Alright, I will start this off here. Probably the next 2 minutes. Yeah, all y'all. Oh, well, then welcome to the channel. You know, it's things get a little crazy sometimes. Oh man. But yeah, this chapter is going. It's not as long. It's longer than the last one. It's not the 17,000 one though. I dread the day that I get to these freaking ones down here, like look, 27,000, 30,000, 51,000, 23,000. See, that stuff right there makes me cry internally, knowing that I will eventually have to suffer at that. Oh man. All right, 1 more minute. No, we're just starting. We are going to just be starting. It definitely is inspired by Fallout. That's exactly correct. We are just starting, so they're just on time. If you plan on sticking around anyway, usually these last roughly, depending on how quickly I read and go through chat, might take around 1 hour and 30 minutes, maybe 2 hours. It really depends. You know, sometimes we go up to 2 hours and 30 minutes usually. But it's time I begin. So chapter 19, Betrayal. By the way, the story does contain themes that are not entirely suitable for all audiences, so you all have been warned. But I'll kind of skip some of it if it's bad. So chapter 19, Betrayal. Tell me that my friends are all lying to me and avoiding me because they don't like my parties and they don't want to be my friends anymore. Addiction. How do you know when you're trapped, when you want something more than anything else? When you find yourself lying to your friends and hiding things from them because you don't want them to know? When you can't go a week without indulging? A day? Or simply when you insist that because none of the above really applied to you, you are fine? We had crashed and everything went black, like somebody blowing out a candle. I was lying on the street, knocked out and badly hurt, but the depths of my unconsciousness, I was still crashing, Pinkie Pie's last message plagued my dreams. By the time I regained consciousness, the party time mental had worn off, and I was back in the mire of my own feebleness. Even with the multicolored pyrotechnic display that consumed 3 city blocks behind us, failed to fully pierce through my mental fog with its brilliance. As I peeled myself off the rubble-strewn street, my mind's eye could see that the skeleton, alone in a corner, a clutching figure of a friend, having fallen into a ribcage, and still all I wanted was another party time mental to clear the fog and confusion, to make me brilliant so I could help my friends. In that moment, I realized that even if I didn't meet any of the criteria on my own mental checklist of warning signs, I risked losing control. I still chose whether I took a party time mental or not, and I could refuse at any time. But I had reached a point where I didn't feel right. Didn't even feel like myself, unless I had that clarifying, enlightening boost from party time mentals. Maybe, just maybe, I did have a problem. Alright, folks, do y'all want to hear a little recap of what happened in the last part of the story? The last chapter, I should say. Because I can give a rough run-through real quickly here. That way you all are slightly aware of what's going on. Otherwise, I can just keep going. No, I'll just, like, give you a couple seconds to decide. Okay, so last time, Little Pip and the crew went to a skyscraper, I guess you could say, but it was the ministry, it was whatever Pinkie Pie's ministry was. This is implying Pinkie Pie. When we went there, I'm sorry, I get kind of sidetracked. They were looking for some music discs or records for DJ Pone 3, who plays crud over the radio all the time. And so they went to this place infested with manticores and crud. So they're going into the skyscraper. They actually find some hostages and some mad ghoul scientist person who was trying to find a cure for this stuff called taint, which is some sort of, yes, that is correct, morale, Ministry of Morale. This stuff called taint, which I believe is technically the same thing as radiation poisoning, and turns creatures and stuff into ghouls or mutates them. One or the other. Apparently, whatever this stuff called taint is really, really, really bad. But anyways, this doctor was trying to find a cure, and but it cost lives. Little Pip decided it was a perfect time, well, in invisibility mode, to go looking into one of the memory orbs. In the memory orb, we saw something, crud. There was a lot of crud that happened. I believe, falling out with Pinkie Pie and Twilight, pretty much, essentially. Due to Pinkie Pie always being hooked on the party time mentals. Shortly after that happened, Little Pip and Velvet Remedy or whoever, essentially regardless, Little Pip had another party time mental. They found a Twilight statue. The statuette, it's literally the bobbleheads from the Fallout series. The bobblehead made her a little smarter. She had a party time mental, but they went onto a computer in the same room where it read about Pinkie Pie sending a message to several locations to Twilight about trying to get clean and that she wasn't herself, but it helped Pinkie Pie become smarter in a way, you know? Because Pinkie's senses were OP, but then when they had these mentals, when Pinkie Pie is supposedly addicted, it made her pinky senses even more extreme, which helped her figure out and pinpoint when to, like, action. Pinkie Pie was always, like, responsible for sending out task forces or whatnot, what junk. They were about to go to the station where the nuke detonated, but Pinkie was clean at the time, so Pinkie wasn't fast. If Pinkie was on the party time mental, the nuke wouldn't have gone off, essentially. And that message never got to Twilight. And that bobblehead I would have talked about earlier was given to Pinkie Pie. And yeah, Pinkie Pie is deceased. Unfortunately, a skeleton in the corner. But we're past that, though. Shortly after our characters met those those false alicorns. Apparently, they die and then come back with the knowledge usually pertaining to how they supposedly died. So that's a whole swell of problems. And they're from the earlier chapters. We met them a few times earlier. But now they're back, pretty much. And they rescued some griffins or some sort of Talon faction group. And then they made a hasty escape. I can't tell you the technicals, but it essentially ended up with them having to, I'm pretty sure, dive off the skyscraper of a building. And somehow or another, they crashed, I'm pretty sure. And then, basically, y'all know in Fallout 4, when you shoot a mini nuke, essentially that, but on a larger scale. Like, let's boost that up several blocks. And that's where we are. Our characters crashed and are unconscious, and then there was a giant nuclear, almost semi-explosion in the background. And so now we can continue with all my rambling aside that lasted probably like 5-7 minutes too long. We'll figure out the technicals. I can't remember everything. I might have said a few things out of order, but hey, when you read that many chapters and crud, some of it starts to blur together, so just bear with me. We'll figure it out together. Okay. Yeehaw! Calamity cried out triumphantly as he fluttered back to the rest of us. Now that's how you do it, Dashot style. Steel hooves groaned deeply as the metal-clad Steel Ranger. Steel Rangers are the equivalent of power armor users in Fallout. Pushed himself to his armed hooves. For the record, he grumbled, no pony here is allowed to complain about my battle tactics being excessive ever again. They did it with, well, the griffins had wings and crud, so use that, and I'm not too sure, they used some levitation magical. It was a cocktail of a conclusion. You know, I can't tell you exactly. They used a little bit of everything, I'm pretty sure. One of the griffins, Butcher, I think, cried out, my wing! I think it's broken. Velvet Remedy dragged herself out of the wreckage of the overturned wagon she had landed in, her own body torn and bleeding, particularly a deep gash on her forehead, but she ignored her own wounds, hobbling towards the badly injured griffin. About halfway to the griffin, she stopped, standing shakily as she gazed at the swirling prismatic fire behind us. Merciful Celestia, I hope no pony was living in any of those buildings. Yup. Calamity landed proudly next to her. Of course not. Cleared the raiders out of that pit yesterday evening, remember? We did what, when? Velvet Remedy swayed a bit and reached up to wipe the stream of blood out of her eye. Oh, you mean when you flew off and the rest of us worried sick about you? She put her hoof down and took one more step towards her intended patient, saying, I'll help. Hold still. She made it 3 more steps before fainting. You know what? I could have predicted that one. Whoa there, Calamity exclaimed as he caught her before she could hit the pavement. He held on to Velvet as she slumped. Frickin' Discord. Every single time the notifications always get past me. Not anymore. Shut that crud off. I always try to make sure I'm fully prepared before starting these. Nope, Discord slips by every time. Oh, God. I tried to trot over to her, only to find I was lying down. That seemed surprising. I tried to get up, and sharp agony lanced through my right foreleg. I lifted it, trying to understand what was wrong. It felt heavy. My eyes took in the spear of rebar jutting through it, just above the dead screen of my pip buck. I know y'all heard it. That's the unfortunate bit. Oh, that's not good. I looked up to see the dark form of an armed griffin approaching me. Then my eyes rolled up and I lost consciousness again. Ouch. Dude, these characters' plot armor, no matter how good it is, they get injured in the most frickin' violent, brutal of ways and still bounce back from it. It's amazing how that works. A freaking rebar stabbed through ya? Alright, that's impressive. I'm amazed you got through that. Now I'm guessing the griffins are going to take care of them now, after being rescued by them. I had already acquired the cones when they started boxing us in. We thought it was a stroke of luck that they were pushing us towards the roof, but those bitches had turned our escape route into a trap. I woke up for the second time to the sound of Blackwing and Steelhooves' deep discussion. Blackwing is a griffin, and Steelhooves is obviously one of our characters. Deep in discussion, I didn't think I had passed out for more than a few minutes. I felt weaker than I had been back when I was sick in Steelhooves' cabin, deeply ill, and my right foreleg throbbed with such pain that I couldn't hold back my tears. My team noticed alicorns checking out at least one other safe in the building, Steelhooves pointed out. Did they know you had the codes already? Blackwing laughed. Well, we sure didn't advertise it. My attention drifted. The beauty of Velvet Remedy had settled down next to me while I was out. Oh my god, the simp moves, dude. The simp. Oh, they try too hard. Velvet Remedy was kneeling over me, her healing horn glowing. It was a position that even I was getting tired of seeing her in. Her head was wrapped in magic-laced bandages, a large patch of red seeping into them over her mending wound. I hope you like the taste of Rataway, little Pip, she said, smiling and trying to sound casual. I could detect the strain in her voice, no matter how well she hid it. Steelhooves is the only one of us who won't be guzzling a crate full if I can get a Dr. Helping Hoof to sell us his stock. Velvet, are you alright? You fell. Velvet smiled softly to me. I have a concussion, but it shouldn't be too serious. I'm more worried about you, little Pip. Pfft, I'll be fine. A few healing potions and I'd be good as new. I told her so. Velvet winced. Why did she wince? Little Pip, you can't take a healing potion, now while that thing is still in you. I looked at the bloody ribbed metal javelin that grotesquely skewered my foreleg. Velvet Remedy continued, my magic and our medicine can patch you up, yes, but that metal rod has to come out first. This was going to hurt, wasn't it? Velvet Remedy assured me that it was going to hurt. A lot. Why didn't you folks just do it before they woke up? Why did you all have to wait for her to get up? That is cruel. I floated out the memory orb from Horseshoe Tower, contemplating it a moment. The lock on that safe had been the hardest I'd ever tried to crack. It had been beyond the magical abilities of two alicorns. False alicorns. What secrets could it have been hiding? According to Blackwing, the mercenaries had already found the codes they were looking for elsewhere in the building. Of course, the alicorns didn't know that for sure. They were probably just being thorough. Oh god. On the count of 3, I suggested to Velvet Remedy. She nodded, her lips pressed into a thin line. She is going to do it on 3. 1, pull! One, two, I reached out with my magic and touched the orb. Easy as Velvet Remedy's horn flared and a shaft of rebar was enveloped with light. All my senses dropped away to another world. Dude, I don't, it's not gonna hurt a little. It's gonna hurt a lot. Bro, I wish Velvet was a little bit, was like, okay, let's do it, pull it out on three. One, rip, right out. You know, that's how you get them. That's how you do it. You just freaking do it while their mind is distracted. They're gonna be expecting it on three. But if you do it before then, that sucker's going straight out. I was sitting before banks of terminals, between two other ponies that I paid absolutely no attention to. This is in a memory orb, I believe. The screen on the terminal was nothing but a little balloon icon, expanding until it popped, then filling again. The pony I was riding was achy for sitting in the same position for too long. Her mane itched, as did. Yikes. Okay, his mane itched, as well as other places. Oh god! Want to be back in the main house being yanked through my leg instead. The little balloon popped together was replaced by text. Audio transmission intercepted. Transmission originates Orange Residence, Horseshoe Tower, Manhattan. Transmission received. Transmission destination encrypted. Logging call. Operation oversight required. If it's piercing through you, what skin are you worried about ripping off? Just curious. If you're pulling it out anyway, it's already a clean shot. You just pull straight. What's up? Welcome to the party. Perfect, I heard and felt the buck say through my mouth in an utterly bored voice. I felt my hoof punch a bun without looking at it. The static in my ear was replaced by voices, staying with my uncle and Auntie Orange. I immediately recognized Ample Bloom! Ample Bloom's voice was an odd timbre and hoarseness to it, like she had been crying a lot, but was now all cried out. My host picked up a pencil in his mouth and started doodling on a notepad. I could taste the eraser and feel the little bite marks on the wooden shaft. I tried to focus on taste and sight and sound, ignoring other senses sternly. Is there any other word? The other voice was that of Sweetabelle. She sounded nervous, worried. Uh-oh, are they being wiretapped? Oh no. Oh no, they might be. More words materialized on the screen before me. Illegal encryption broken. Transmission received. Pony perfection. Camelot. Proceed with voice analysis. The buck I was riding sighed loudly and hit another button, then went back to dueling, only half watching the screen. Voice analysis in progress. No, Ample Bloom calmed dourly. The doctor pony says sis will pull through, but... Sweetabelle sounded like she was afraid to hear the answer. I mean, that's wonderful news, right? Why don't you sound happy? Apple Bloom's voice dropped low. I felt myself sitting up a little. Apparently, ponies who were trying to be quiet warranted at least a little attention. There's a rumor, Apple Bloom confided to her friend. Some folks saying that maybe 'twasn't so much of an accident. What? Sweetabelle gasped, her voice dropping to a whisper, even in her shock. Who'd want to hurt Applejack? The screen flashed as new information spilled out rapidly. Somewhere, a mainframe had just figured out who was talking, and about what. Now the screen and the ear bloom had my host's full attention. They say that maybe 'twas some pony within her own ministry. Sweetabelle was silent on the other end in the background. I could hear some pony crying, a soft, heartbreaking weeping, but I couldn't tell whether it was from a unicorn's end or the earth ponies. I didn't have to wonder long. What the hell's going on over there? Sweetabelle, where are you calling from? Is everything alright? And then as a darker thought seemed to hit the mare. Did your sister have an accident too? What? Oh no, my sister is fine. We're at that spa on Leafall Lane. Rarity's been here all afternoon trying to get Fluttershy to stop crying. What about Applejack? Sweetabelle sounded guilty. No, I don't think they even know about what happened yet. Rarity called me over a few hours ago. Apparently, when Fluttershy missed their weekly treatment, Rarity went looking for her. She found Fluttershy curled up in a corner in her office at the Ministry of Peace. I don't really know what happened, but... And now it was Apple Bloom's turn. But? Fluttershy says that Rainbow Dash called her a traitor. What? Apple Bloom wasn't able to keep her voice down like Sweetabelle could. I heard someone in the background call out questioningly. Apple Bloom's voice became murky as she called back. No, nothing's wrong, Uncle Orange. It's not the hospital. Just talking to Sweetabelle. Then after a pause, she thoughtfully added, sounds like Rarity and Fluttershy ain't gonna make it up right away. Apple Bloom spoke clearly once again, addressing Sweetabelle. I gotta go. Twilight Sparkle's supposed to be porting in any minute now. She'll be staying with us until Applejack's out of critical, Apple Bloom explained. And you know those teleports wreak havoc with these here terminals. I really think I could design one better in my sleep. Besides, Scootaloo would have a right fit, and she knew I was talking on an unsecured line. A traitor? Apple Bloom? Can you imagine? Rainbow Dash is her oldest friend, and even worse, she's the bearer of elemental loyalty. Sweetabelle sounded deeply pained. That's kind of like having loyalty itself call you a traitor. Wonder how she'd like it if some pony called her a traitor, Apple Bloom seethed gloomily. How could Rainbow Dash say something like that? I don't know, Apple Bloom replied, sounding offended. I'm giving up trying to understand him more. I just want all this to be over. I know it. Everything. Sometimes I just want to dig a hole in the ground and hide until this whole stupid war is over. The screen flashed. Transmission terminated on receiving end. Content analysis proceeding. Content tagged. Alpha. Priority. Oversight memory confirmation required. Please report to your supervisor. I felt myself get up and shake loose the earbud. Damn it, I hate memory extraction. I heard him grump from what felt like my mouth. Hope those mares die in a fire. Oh my god, dude. Oh my god. Well, that was interesting. Woo. That was... Oh, shoot. Oh no. I don't know who the heck is talking right now. This is interesting. This is intense. Maybe the title Betrayal isn't about our main cast. It's about Twilight and the gang and something going on. In this case, I'm thinking it's probably Rainbow Dash or something. This got a whole lot more interesting. I returned to a world of darkness and incredible pain. But at least I was a mare again. Biting back a scream, I smiled weakly up at Velvet Remedy, who was wrapped my foreleg in healing bandages. That was clever, Velvet Remedy complimented as she floated a couple rejuvenating potions out of a medical box resting beside her. I noticed she wasn't wearing hers and looked around. I could have sworn she was wearing them before I blacked out the second time, but I couldn't remember if she was when I woke up. Not far away, I saw Calamity working on her saddlebags, replacing the battle-damaged boxes with new ones he had scavenged from somewhere. Anything interesting? Velvet Remedy asked, nodding her horn towards the memory orb. I glanced down at the memory orb. The thoughts that it provoked battled for dominance in my head. I had glimpsed hints that all was not well inside the Ministry of Technology before, but any pony within the Ministry to have enough drive and animosity towards Applejack to plot her death, that took the conflict to a whole new level. That placed the call sometime after the death of Applejack's big brother and her corresponding exertion of greater control over her own ministry. Probably even after Apple Snack's memory. A new generation of magically hardened terminals would explain why I kept finding functional ones in the Equestrian wasteland. And if that call took place when I thought it did, that would explain why the vast majority of terminals were destroyed hunks of scrap. Only the ones deemed most vital or owned by ponies of wealth or prominence would have been upgraded. It was also beginning to see the possibilities that Godna Grimfeathers had recognized in an entire vault full of memories, but those thoughts were distractions. Most importantly, Velvet Remedy must never see this memory. Just some buck having a really boring day at work, I lied, floating it up and back towards my saddlebags. How's the griffin with the broken wing? She won't be able to fly for a while. Her injuries were much worse than when Calamity's wing got shot, Velvet said, glancing towards the griffin in question. As much as Velvet looked away, I gave the memory orb a telekinetic fling, sending it soaring into the night air. With luck, the toss would put it close enough to our Dashite's miniature Armageddon that at least the poisonous memory would die in a fire. Ooh. Ooh-ah. Wow. I love phlegm. I'm just kidding. I absolutely hate phlegm. Phlegm sucks so much, dude. Oh, man. That is interesting. As long as you try your best, it's probably gonna be okay. DJ Pont 3 isn't telling the whole story. Blackwing insisted, speaking to Steelhooves. My metal-shrouded companion had oh so casually about the massacre of the ghoul ponies on the Celestial Lion Station. Sure, Grimstar wanted them dead, but few of the folk in Ten Pony Tower, like that Doc, were interested in a more amiable solution. Amiable? Steelhooves said with disgust tinged belief. With ghouls? Blackwing hunched. Yeah, well, I've met a few ghoul ponies in my day that were more respectable than most ponies on the wasteland. The griffin's tone suggested there was more she wanted to add, but wasn't going to insult the Steel Ranger who had just helped save her life. They aren't like zombie ponies, although eventually, well... Sheriff Rottingtail was diving towards zombiehood, I'm pretty damn sure. By the way, for those who are not aware, lore bomb coming right up. Cover your ears, you don't want to hear it. No, it's okay, it's gonna be fine. Steelhooves is a ghoul. That's right, folks. We learned that last chapter. Figure we all keep in the loop, right? Oh, I lost where I was at. God dang it. Oh god. Okay, hold on. I'm still pretty damn sure. Okay, I believe right here. Oh? Steelhoof asked in a manipulatively conversational tone I was beginning to recognize. I wondered if I should be worried. Did Blackwing or her griffins have anything to fear from Steelhooves? How about the ponies of Ten Pony Tower? I didn't think so, but how well did I really know Steelhooves? How well could somebody know him when every show of opinion or emotion could be a cleverly crafted deception? Yeah, Sheriff Rottingtail didn't want cohabitation? Even if some of the Ten Pony folk were willing to give it a go, that bastard had plans to wipe out every pony in that tower and take it for himself and his crew. Blackwing slashed at the air in disgust. There's a whole flock of zombie ponies in the maintenance tunnels near Ten Pony Tower. He tried to pay us to unlock an old tunnel entrance so he could let them swarm the place. Steelhooves was deathly silent for a moment. Then, he tried to bribe you to break contract. Surely he had to know a griffin's honor wouldn't stand for that. Why didn't he just do it himself? I saw how Blackwing puffed up with pride. The fool couldn't. Only unlocks from the inside. By Luna, Steelhooves gasped. I hope you told Chief Grimstar about this. A grimace formed on Blackwing's beak. Actually, she clawed at the ground, I didn't see any point in feeling that jerk's bigotry after Sheriff Rottingtail had been taken out. Truth was, we didn't even go in with the plan to take out more than him and his thugs, but the whole damn place fell upon us the moment we took him down. Didn't have a chance but to kill them all. Steelhoof nickered. Well, who can blame you but Grimstar? But Grimstar needs to know about that potentially fatal flaw in 10 Pony security. Where is this old tunnel entrance exactly? Dang. Butcher dropped her dismounted AA cannon battle saddle at my hooves. I blinked at her, not comprehending. Look, you saved our lives up there. We owe you, Butcher explained. Blackwing would probably make you an honorary talent if you were at least a Pegasus, but since you're a unicorn, that just won't fly, she smirked at her own pun. I stared down at the ridiculously huge grin. I couldn't really, I stammered, wondering just what the hell we would do with the thing if I accepted it. You might need it. Yeah, well, I need my life more. And I have that thanks to you lot. Blackwing's talents pay back their debts, and don't you deny that you could use her. Little Gilda here will beat a hole through an alicorn shield if you can keep her on target for 4 or 5 shots of concentrated fire. She cocked her head. Besides, the other idea was a set of our armor, but I don't think it would fit a pony. Calamity flew up and hovered, staring at it. Actually, I bet I can mount that girl onto Steelhoof's battle saddle. Bro! Steelhooves with an anti-air cannon? Are you kidding me, bro? Oh my god, that sounds so freaking cool. Oh my god. Anti-air gun power armor combo sounds so OP. Where? Steelhoof's huge saddle already had a grenade machine gun on one side and a missile launcher on the other. On his back, Calamity tipped his bat, warming to the idea. Sure, she'd have to be mounted afterwards, so Steelhooves would have to turn his tail to target it to shoot, but if we rigged it into that fancy targeting magic. Oh my god. Oh no, I was stopping this insanity right there. Steelhooves, if anything, needed a weapon that was less overpowered, something he could safely shoot in hallways. No, actually, how about you just owe us a favor? I'm not much for owning favors that might come back to pluck my tail feathers. Blackwing, finally done talking with Steelhooves, broke into the conversation. But if you can think up something more acceptable by the end of the week, we should still be in the area. Butcher looked to her team leader. What's the plan? She laid down next to her battle saddle and started putting it on. Pulling it on? Interesting, probably a typo. It was clearly far too heavy to lift without telekinesis. Finish the contract, deliver the codes, and get out payment. After that, Blackwing looked behind her as the one other remaining member of her team who was being virtually mummified by Velvet Remedy. By the egg, Blackwing swore. I'll figure something out. Calamity looked disappointed at Butcher resaddled little Gilda. I don't know, how are we supposed to find you? Blackwing fished a small device from her saddlebags. It looked a lot like a stealth buck. He is a broadcaster. You can attach it to your pit buck and use it to transmit radio messages as well as receive them. Your pit buck is in a radio tower, so you won't have much range, but if you picked up our transmissions, you already know what frequencies to call on. I nodded, floating into my own saddlebags. First I had to restore the spell matrix of my pit buck. I couldn't do it from Steelhoof's suit, just I had the reverse. But it was a complicated procedure that I couldn't do while hurt, or in the dark, or probably without party time mentals. No, I could do it without them. Even if I didn't feel like I could. I'd done it before, damn it. Steelhooves trotted up to join us. I was tempted to ask him about his somewhat ominous conversation with Blackwing, but he drew my attention elsewhere. We're being watched. There's a sprite bot that's been trying to get your attention without letting me know it's there. Watcher. Ooh, spooky. Ad Victoriam, bro. I don't know. I'm not really a Brotherhood of Steel kind of person. I'm gonna be completely honest here. Ugh. The kind of posers, bro. Ugh. What? What? What the heck? What am I zoning into? I excused myself to the little filly's pile of rubble. Sure enough, the sprite bot floated up to me. Silent as the sunset. Hello, little Pip. Watcher tried to sound casual, but this wasn't a chance meeting. If it was, I would have heard music first. What are you doing all the way out here? And what was that explosion? By the way, I'm pretty sure we have come to the conclusion that the one behind the sprite bots is Twilight Sparkle herself. That is the conclusion I have come to after reading the last chapter. Or maybe it was the one before that. One or the other. Well, Calamity has been playing with fireworks and steel hooves, has been letting you secretly follow us around all day without his knowing, I said darkly. What are you doing? All day? I don't know what you mean, little Pip. I just got here. Likely story. Didn't matter. I needed Watcher's help. Watcher, I need a favor. I need you to contact Godna and tell her about Blackwing's talents. Watcher was silent long enough that I felt pressed to explain. Godna's gathering up griffins who aren't currently under contract. Blackwing lost half her griffins to those alicorns and the survivors are badly wounded. They could use more help than we can give them. We ought to at least let Godna give them the option. No, the sprite bot's mechanical voice intoned. No? I sat back surprised. Look, we can help these people. Or do you only care about ponies? I've been willing to help you before because it was to save lives. This isn't saving lives. It's more like a vanity project. I don't reveal myself for a reason. Every time I do, it puts me at risk. Oh, for the love of Luna, I turned away from the floating robot. Then Watcher surprised me. Fine, I'll do this for you, but you have to agree to do something for me. I have a quest for you. You have a what now? I blanked, turning back and staring at this boat. Yeah, we got a quest. Little Pip's an NPC. Oh, wait a second. No, the Watcher is an NPC about to just give a quest to our main character here, Little Pip. Oh my god. There's a black opal in Ten Pony Tower. It was stolen from me. I want it back. Tentatively, I asked, what's a black opal? It's a special gemstone. It's like a memory orb, but used on a recollector. Before I could ask what a recollector was, Watcher enlightened me. Memory orbs hold memories taken from others by unicorn magic, usually through force. A recollector is an enchanted crown that someone can wear when they want to record what they are experiencing, or to relive such a recording, even if the wearer isn't a unicorn. I nodded. That sort of advancement made perfect sense. Like Applebloom's magic-resistant terminals, I suspected it was a step forward in arcana technology that came awfully close to the end. Otherwise, I'd have been stumbling over them everywhere. So you want me to get a memory orb, sorta, out of Ten Pony Tower and bring it to you? What do I look like, a courier pony? I glowered. But if this is what you require of me in order to be helpful, I'll do it. Where is the thing? I believe it was taken by that radio pony, DJ Pone 3. Retrieve it for me, and I will relay your message. Wait, what? Watcher wanted me to steal from Homage? Oh my god, bro, the sauce! The sauce gets real! Oh my god! Dude! Oh no! Little Pip's potential love life! Oh no, they have to steal it from him! I fought down a sense of inarticulate rage. Hokey dokey Loki. I'll see what I can do. My voice was sharp and even. But you send the damn message first. The sprite bot hovered while Watcher seemed to contemplate this. Of course. Trust goes both ways. Well, maybe. But Watcher just asked me to betray the trust of some pony I cared about. And right now, I cared for and needed homage. A whole lot more than some pony hiding behind a sprite bot and demanding favors in return for taking action. So I would ask Homage for the black opal nicely, and if she said no, Watcher was out of luck. Suddenly, something else occurred to me. My eyes widened as I stared at Watcher's sprite bot. What? Why are you looking at me like that? You haven't disappeared? All your little visits have been getting shorter. It's almost like every time I start to ask a question that you're uncomfortable with, your time in the sprite bot conveniently ends. But now that you want something from me, you've... There was a burst of static, and then happy marching music, heavy on tuba, drum and harmonica, poured out the sprite bot as Watcher ran out of time. I wasn't buying it. Holy cow, this is freaking deep, dude! Oh, I love it! Oh my god! Holy cow, that's freaking awesome! Oh my gosh, it just gets more and more intense. The sun was beginning to rise, painting the clouds above the magnificent colors and plunging the city into a maze of deep shadows. I would have enjoyed the walk back to the lack of my eyes' forward sparkle wasn't making me dread every corner and shadow, unable to tell where enemies were lurking. If my foreleg wasn't throbbing, if my head wasn't pounding, my stomach twisting and clenching brutally, I had already vomited up everything I'd eaten ever. I had come to a conclusion. I hated radiation sickness. Quite a lot. 10 Pony Tower, Homage, and bed seemed forever away. Velvet Remedy had passed the right-of-way out between us, excluding Steel Hooves. Before Blackwing's talons took their leave, what wouldn't quite have been enough to purge the radiation from 3 of us was spread far too thin, serving 6. Velvet Remedy kept assuring us that we would be fine once we made it to 10 Pony Tower and she could get more supplies, even though we weren't saying anything, which made me even more worried. I distracted myself by thinking about the memory orb, and that led me to thoughts about the Ministry of Wartime Technology, which led me to recall Steelhooves' comment about the Ministry and who they helped. Companies like Ironshod, 4 Stars, Equestrian Robotics, and even Stable Tech. Ironshod Firearms, where I first learned that all was not well in Applejack's world. Equestrian Robotics, I really knew nothing about them for sure, but I heavily suspected the nightmare fuel that was brainbots could be laid at their hooves. 4 Stars, the traitorous ponies who sheltered and worked with zebra infiltrators, and who were largely responsible for the deaths of millions, and Stable Tech, and I already knew how that worked out. Under the Ministry's guidance and support, I was brought out of my thoughts by Velvet Remedy's gasp. I had fallen behind due to as much mental wanderings as my size and physical state. I tried to gallop up to where the rest of them were crouched behind a shadowed wall. Peeking out of half a window instead, I lurched and discovered that I actually didn't have just a little bit more I could throw up. Enclave! Oh my god, bro. Frickin', we got introduced to the Enclave a little, not them, but we got a billboard of them, quote, liberating the wasteland. But no, the Enclave is actually Pegasus in this story, it seems. You know where all the Pegasus went? The little clouds, the little frickin' places in the clouds. One day they'll swoop down and free the, restore frickin' crud to the wasteland. That's kind of what it's rumored as. Oh man. Derpy is in this. Derpy survived in this story. Derpy is a ghoul in this story. We've already met them. We've met them long time ago. Okay. Wiping the sick from my muzzle with weak disgust, I approached a second window, not wanting to press close to the others after what I had done. Besides, it was a metal desk. We were technically on the inside of the building, looking out. I paused to open the desk, finding a dozen bottle caps. A Derpy in this series? Oh, what are we talking about? My fogged mind insisted on asking why I kept finding bottle caps in places like this. Desks, trash cans, lockers, filing cabinets. What kind of pony went around putting money in random spots? That's what I say about like crud and like when you're playing Borderlands and stuff. Who is putting money here? What thought process leads to, oh look, a desk in the urban wilderness. Let's put some caps in there. Not much, just enough to buy a sandwich. Oh, you're all good. Welcome back. I shook my head, trying to rid my mind of the cobwebs that entangled such thoughts. The thudding of my headache spiked, letting me know that this was the wrong thing to do. Blinking back tears, I looked out at the street. I heard the odd fluttery commotion before I saw the source. When I did, my eyes went wide. A moment later, a ball of green flame lit up the street as the balefire phoenix set one of the bloodwings, attacking it ablaze. I stood there, gaping, I guess. Not all my companions were content to just watch. Levitating out her combat shotgun, Velvet Remedy stepped through her window, much to our surprise. Velvet Remedy was never the first into combat. The range of creatures she was willing to use lethal force against was growing, and now included alicorns, but it had always been in self-defense, or the defense of other ponies. As I saw Velvet take a battle stance, lifting the shotgun towards the aerial skirmish, I remembered what Monterey Jack had said, and wondered if I was slowly losing her to demands of the equestrian wasteland as well. Was she losing herself? Velvet Remedy waited until the sight of the balefire phoenix was entirely blocked by the body of a bloodwing. Blam! The giant bat let out a piercing screech and fell to the ground. Velvet Remedy turned her aim to another one, waiting for the opportune moment. The bats weren't going to give it to her. One of them broke off, diving at my friend. There was a twin gunshot as Calamity entered the fray, and the bloodwing crashed meatily at Velvet Remedy's hooves. The sky flashed with gouts of green as the balefire phoenix tried to swoop back around on its attackers. One of the bloodwings turned and collided with the majestic green and golden bird, and the two plowed inside of the hulk of a delivery wagon, crashing through crates filled with destroyed books. Part of me wondered if the books had been headed towards Twilight Sparkle's Athenium. Athenium? It's whatever. I don't know that word. This word's weird. The balefire phoenix was pinned under the black bloodwing. I could see it struggling to get out. Another bloodwing fluttered down to the mouth of the delivery wagon, then flapped back quickly as the phoenix spat green balefire at it. The beautiful creature let out a mournful cry as the bloodwing twisted its head about to sink its fangs into the bird. The second bloodwing descended into the opening. "Little Pip," Velvet Remedy shouted in dismay, "your zebra rifle!" I started, looking into her in confusion as my party time mental less brain struggled to parse what she wanted me to do. Velvet Remedy wasn't willing to wait. Her horn flared as she wrenched the zebra rifle out of its holding straps and started firing it wildly into the back of the wagon. In seconds, the entire interior was ablaze. The bloodwings screeched in agony. One of them stumbled out, walking bizarrely on its burning wings. A living inferno. It collapsed in the street. Nothing else. Neither balefire phoenix nor second bloodwing emerged from the raging furnace that the book wagon had become. Ooh, yas, snacks, queen, yas, bring on the snacks. I looked from the wagon to Velvet Remedy and back blankly, but the Velvet Remedy gave me a strained glance, then returned into staring into the fire. As I struggled to finish the thought, a blast of ash shot from the flames. It swirled in the morning air, catching the rays of sunlight as they pierced through the apocalyptic cityscape, spinning on the wind all its own. Then with a blinding burst of emerald light pierced with gold, the balefire phoenix appeared. Velvet Remedy gave a joyous squeak. She'd watched as the strange but magnificent creature circled around us thrice, let out a musical cry, and soared off. Floating the zebra rifle back to me, she smirked. Not the same relationship with being burned alive, remember? Actually, no. I believe Rainbow Dash is technically a deserter. She has been labeled as something called a Dashite but I call it the shit, which is what Calamity is. Basically, they get their cutie marks branded over with like a symbol of Rainbow Dash's cutie mark, pretty much, the lightning bolt, but it practically means deserter and some crud. Pinkie Pie is the only character we know that is dead so far. That is the only character we know. Or whose body, I should say, we found, I suppose. The shit. Yeah, she's thought of as a traitor, yes. Hello, welcome to the party. But that's pretty much what's going. That's pretty much how that works. We really don't know anything about the supposed Enclave faction yet, though. They technically hadn't made an appearance. We just saw a billboard. That was it. Apparently they have like a scorpion tail armor, some sort of crud. It's freaking whack. Still carrying the same insect aesthetic. Hello, hello. Alright, back to reading. When we get back, I'm taking a long bath, Velvet Remedy announced. I'll get the rat away as soon as Dr. Helpinghoof's clinic opens. At this rate, it won't be long after we return. God dang it. When we get back, I'm taking a long bath, Calamity exclaimed, prompting Velvet to mock faint. I just wanted to sleep, preferably beside Homage. I stopped my mind fighting sickness, PTM withdrawal, and now sleep deprivation. I don't know. I need sleep. But we don't have much time. Don't have much time? Before what? Before Monterey Jack is executed, I told Calamity bluntly. We have to save him. The others, all of them, stopped in their tracks. We have to what now? Calamity asked if I told him we all had to get bitten by rattlesnakes. Sorry, I didn't mean that. I said, realizing my error. I have to save him. Pardon, but I still don't think I heard that. May I ask why? Velvet Remedy questioned. Not to mention how, Steelhooves added. I turned to look at my surprised and uncooperative friends. It dawned on me that I had never mentioned to them my intention to save the unpleasant beige unicorn. I say let 'em hang, Calamity said, landing with an authoritative all-hoof stomp. You just met, Velvet Remedy began, then stopped. You're going to get us all kicked out of Ten Pony Tower to save the pony who tried to rob you? That is if the guards don't simply gun you down, even though he confessed? I felt myself shaking. I was in no condition to having this argument. Couldn't they all see that this was the right thing to do? I'm not sure I agree with Little Pip. No, I'm not too sure. Oh, fatherless? Kicked out. Fatherless kicked out. Children without parents? I don't know. I don't know what's the best. I don't know. Damn it, Little Pip, Velvet Remedy was suddenly mad at me. Why was she mad at me? Monterey Jack doesn't get to do this. You saved that miserable bastard's life and he repaid you by trying to screw you. He doesn't get to cheat on you out of happiness too. I recoiled from Velvet Remedy's language as much as her anger. I agree, Steelhooves said simply. Finally, I shot back at them, focusing on Velvet Remedy. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if he's worthy of saving or not. Everyone on the battlefield, Fluttershy said, right? That buck has kids, 2 colts and a filly. What do you think will happen to them if he dies? Does Ten Ponies Tower strike you as the sort of place that comprehends charity? Did any of you see an orphanage in there while you were shopping around? I turned to Calamity and Steelhooves. It doesn't matter what I could lose if I do. But how about what I'll lose if I don't even try? Sometimes, to do what's right, you have to become the villain of the piece. My friends all took a step back from me. They looked to each other as if wondering who should speak first. Finally, Steelhooves stepped forward. Well then, what's the plan? Breathing a huge sigh of relief and feeling suddenly so dizzy, I had to fight not to drop to my knees, I explained. I have 1 stealth buck left. I sneak in, shoot him with the dart, just 1. The poison will paralyze him for a few hours, but have no lasting effects. Then I pick the lock, float him out onto my back. I'll use my levitation to lessen his weight. As long as I'm actually carrying him, the invisibility spell should cover both of us, just like it covers my saddlebags. Velvet Remedy's eyes were wet, but she stepped forward. In that case, we have something we must do before I can take my bath. I looked to her questioningly, hopefully. We need to stop by that workstation so you can build a new dart gun. Dang, bro. Ooh, bit by a rattlesnake. Woo. Okay. Catch a rattlesnake? That sounds risky. Not the kind of thing I would want to do for fun. Oh man. Oh wow, 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 wow. Yeah, man, catch yourself a snake. I was dead on my hooves. I could barely stand up. The workbench seemed to swim before me. Velvet Remedy was by my side, though, encouraged me gently. Her attitude seemed to have completely changed after I mentioned the children. I was surprised, but unquestionably pleased. Uh-oh. Hold on, music swapped. Let's see where we're at. Alright, looks like we got some Fallout 3 OST up next. Alright. Her attitude seemed completely changed after I mentioned the children. I was surprised, but unquestionably pleased. It's okay, you can do it. Just focus. I nodded to Velvet's voice as I wonder-glued the pieces of seemingly random junk into a potent hoof-made weapon. There. It just needs to dry now. Velvet Remedy nodded and gave me a little nuzzle. Your heart is always in the right place, little Pip. She backed up, giving me a sad smile. You're mine? Maybe not so much. But I've learned to believe in your heart. She looked down, scuffing the floor with her hoof. I do care about you, you know? Dude, I freaking can't handle Velvet Remedy just being like, you're an addict, you're an addict, you're an addict, but never saying the freaking words, bro. Just I can't. Quit being that person, Velvet. And giving a sad smile. You're mine. Maybe not as much, but I want to believe you, huh? I felt my heart flutter and my head swim. What was this? This wasn't her trying to hurt Calamity. She was coming on to me after pushing me towards Homage yesterday? No, I had been reading this wrong. I looked away, aching because I knew Homage was so close, but eyes caught a bit of red in the far corner under her blanket. Hey, Velvet, is that your wagon? I suspected she had left it up here the morning before. I pictured Homage finding it and carefully setting it aside, even covering it, although I couldn't remember Velvet bringing it in the first place. I looked to her again, and the thought left me. She looked beautiful and heart-achingly sad. Her eyes were glistening again, but she changed the subject. How long? She deflected, glancing again at the dart gun. Oh, Wonder Glue is... I searched for a good word and failed. Wondrous. No time at all. Hell, it's probably ready now. You have all the darts you need? Only should need one, although I had to admit, I need a few dozen in the state I was in. I'd be lucky to hit a barn door. Let me see... Velvet cooed. I floated out one of my poison darts and set it into the dart gun. Velvet Remedy wrapped her telekinesis around it and lifted it to her eye, checking the alignment. It occurred to me that non-lethal weapon like a dart gun should hold quite the appeal for my more pacifistic friend. I remembered my earlier worries. How much would Velvet Remedy benefit psychologically and spiritually from being able to handle enemies without further soaking her own hooves in blood and death? Damn it. Why didn't I think of this before? I turned to her, the promise to make her a dart gun of her own wet on my lips, and froze in bewilderment. Velvet Remedy had the dart gun pointed right at me. Didn't she know that wasn't safe? Thwap! Ow! I opened my mouth, was a surprise frozen on my tongue. Velvet Remedy shed a tear as she said, I'm sorry, little Pip. What was happening? Velvet Remedy's horn glowed a little brighter. I heard the squeaking as the small red wagon rolled over, stopping behind me. Velvet Remedy stepped closer and gave me a gentle nudge with one hoof, tipping my paralyzed body onto the wagon. She'd shot me on purpose. As Velvet Remedy floated the blanket over it, covering me and my body, I swore I'd killed her. Oh, shoot! Oh, I knew frickin' Velvet kept giving red flags, bro. I knew it! We have the betrayer. We know who our betrayer is. I thought it was possibly going to be Steelhooves, not frickin' Velvet. Holy cow. Goodness gracious. Unless we're talking about the whole incident. Honestly, there was a lot of crud that happened, and that could be considered for the title of this chapter, honest to God. There's a lot of possibilities, but I think that is the betrayal they're meaning to imply here. Oh my god, they shot Little Pip. I don't know when I lost consciousness. The last moments I remembered were of feeling the vibration of the elevator through the metal edges of the wagon. A wagon which I should note had been very uncomfortable. We found the yep, we found him. I hadn't been able to see anything, and the only thing I could smell was the damn blanket. Mentally, I had realized I should either be seething with rage or sick with worry, perhaps even fearing for my life. But I had been too ill and too exhausted to have any emotions left. I probably fell asleep. But, okay, hear me out. I don't think Velvet is that kind of person to just shoot you on purpose. Like, I think Velvet means to just mellow yellow the hell out of Little Pip here, so maybe they can get them clean of chems, or just wait enough for time to go by so that Monterey Jack gets executed, and that way they all still have their little freebie pass in the city without risking losing it. Ooh. I probably fell asleep. Now I found myself waking to the horrifyingly familiar sensation of being strapped to a medical table. A shot of panic went through me, driving me to struggle against the straps holding me down as I imagined that the psychotic ghoul doctor had somehow regenerated and captured me again, with Velvet Remedy's help. Oh, you know, it's just that. It's just the energy, you know? Just here to have fun. Life's hard enough as it is. Why make it harder? I realized just how utterly horrible. Wait, I collapsed back, a black ache growing in my heart. How could she do this? She was supposed to be my friend. I realized just how utterly horrible I felt, beyond heartache, beyond headache and physical illness. I felt deeply and unbearably wrong inside. Was that how Taint felt? I tossed my head back onto my pillow, a little surprised my captors had thought to give me one. Above me, some pony had nailed a poster to the wall. A very young mare dressed in pink and yellow striped nurse's uniform stared back at me, telling me how I didn't need to be a steel ranger to be a hero. Apparently, heroic positions like bedpan, unsolicitation technician, and cancer ward clown awaited me. What? Not the Red Racer factory. My eyes strayed around. The medical bed I was strapped to was partitioned off by screens. I could see the silhouettes of ponies moving about beyond. The only thing in here with me was a strange beeping terminal and several plastic tubes that delivering fluids into and out of my body. One of the shadows was Calamity. I could tell by the shape of his hat. Oh my god, dude. Oh my god, dude, rats! They're all rats! This is some sort of way to, like, get Little Pip help for her addiction, right? They are forcing help onto Little Pip by whatever means necessary to get them clean from the mentals. Oh, that's freaking unreal, dude. One of the shadows was Calamity. I could tell by the shape of his hat. Damn it, no, not him too. Celestia and Luna, damn them both to the burning. Dag nabbit, I heard Calamity speak, addressing one of the other ponies in the room. Remember when we talked about doing this the right way? Well, this ain't it. Do you think I wanted to do this? Velvet Remedy's voice carried through the gazy screens that locked me away. There was a heartache in her voice. Good. Little Pip forced my hoof. And how exactly did she do that? I seem to recall her being barely able to walk straight. Suddenly my body started to feel really heavy, like a great leaden blanket was pressing down on me. Don't be naive. You heard her. Monterey Jack's execution is tomorrow. She was going to get herself kicked out of this place before we had any chance to persuade her to seek treatment. Alright, peace out. Thanks for stopping by. Oh, that's what this was. I opened my mouth to say something, but that heaviness washed over my eyelids and I couldn't keep them open. When I awoke again, I felt better. I was tired and weak, weary to my very bones, but in the way that felt normal. The heartache and sickness were gone. I could see, hear, feel, think. Clearly, there was no fog to fight through. I tried to sit up, but I was still firmly bound to the medical bed. A shout of panic went through me, but I fought to stifle it. I wasn't back there. I wasn't in the Mad Ghoul's lab. This was different, and if I kept telling myself that, maybe my body would listen and my heart would slow to normal. I laid back already exhausted by my effort to rise. I didn't have the energy to fight it, but I did have enough to start to get mad. The only friends I had ever had in my life had conspired against me. Velvet Remedy had paralyzed me. They had me strapped to a bed in a clinic barely for a day. After my terrifying experience with the ghoul doctor, they had forced me into. By the mercy of moon banishment, I knew I had a problem. It wasn't if I was stupid. Hell, I would have come here on my own. Eventually, I would have. I just had more important, pressing things. A shadow moved up to the partition, and one of the screens was pulled away. A dark tan earth pony trotted into my little prison. Beyond him, I could see Velvet Remedy curled up on a bench. Her horn was glowing and a memory orb lay on the bench in front of her. She had retreated into the Fluttershy orb again. Goddesses, as if Velvet Remedy didn't have problems of her own. I felt something hard in the pit of my stomach. I had every right to be furious with her, and I was, but I couldn't be hateful. Instead, even with my anger on, I felt a pang of worry for her. Well, good morning, the stallion said. I'm Dr. Helpinghoof, and you, I've been told, are Little Pip. How are you feeling this morning? I turned my anger towards him. I didn't know how quite much of it he deserved, but it was at least some. After all, he'd agreed to put me through his addiction cure very much without my permission. I was paralyzed at the time, plus he was very, very convenient. That's a really stupid name. The doctor took none of the intended offense. Yes, I suppose you're right. I changed my name when I decided to take over the clinic. The Helping Hoofs clinics were pre-war centers for aid and rehabilitation. Maybe it was presumptuous of me. I sighed and shook my head. No, that makes sense. Dr. Helping Hoof was a homage to the Helping Hoof clinics. I felt a smile curling my muzzle despite myself. I fought it off, finding my righteous anger again. Why am I strapped down? I demanded. Helping Hoof gently answered. The addiction treatment involves a complete flushing of your system. You really don't want to pull out any of those tubes while the process is in progress. You could cause yourself permanent harm. Oh, but why am I still strapped down? Well, honestly, because the first reaction of most patients in your position is to gallop off. And all too often. And buy more of whatever drug just cleaned them off. My choice, isn't it? Yes, that's certainly true, and with friends like yours, I have no doubt that you'd find yourself back here tomorrow if you did. I could make a tidy profit off of you. I glared at the ceiling. I need new friends. I was rapidly running out of ones who hadn't shot me. That attitude is not unexpected. No good deed in all of those horse apples, the doctor said. But in your case, I'm keeping you strapped until I'm sure you're not gonna do something too exertive. I gave him a dark look, but he shrugged it off. When you came in here, party time menthol addiction was hardly your only ailment. You were suffering severe radiation exposure, not to mention a small dose of manticore poisoning. Your body had clearly been through an entire traumas in only a few weeks. That was on the verge of giving out. I had to do a lot of work before I could risk even beginning the treatment, the doctor spoke with earnest warning. These procedures have left you in a weak and fragile state. You'll heal properly now, but you need to take it easy for the next few days at least. No strenuous activity. I remained quiet as that soaked in. How bad a shape had I been in? And if I was that messed up, how bad were the others? Doctor? My friends? They've been through as much as I have. Please, they need your help too. Helping Hoof nodded. I know your unicorn friend already insisted. The Still Ranger won't even let me take a look, but I've had both Calamity and Velvet Remedy on the table while you were in recovery. Of course, Steel Hooves wouldn't want anyone here realizing what he was. Will they be okay? Physically, yes, the doctor said. Although I suspect how well they heal emotionally will be more up to you than to me. Great. Drop that load on me too. I wasn't even gonna get to be mad at them. Now, I want to talk to you a little bit about addictions, Helping Hoof informed me. Perfect. And now the lecture, and he even had me strapped down for it. You should have noticed by now that your senses and thought processes seem clearer and cleaner. Not as hyper-enhanced as when you were on the drugs, but still a lot better than when you were off of them. Am I right? Grudgingly, I nodded. That's the nasty double edge of party time mentals. They are a brain accelerator made from mystical plants native to only to zebra lands, and perhaps the Everfree Forest. No matter how often you use them, they will always be just as effective as the first time. What most addicts don't realize, however, is that the withdrawal degrades your mental faculties the more you take them. The worse you are when you're not on them. Ponies who have been taking them for years have reached the point where they can barely function without the drug in their system. Yeah. Yep. That's party time mentals are what Pinkie Pie was addicted to. She was about to go to get treatment and asked Twilight to come with her that next day. But then the bombs went off. And that is why everything happened in Manhattan. Because Pinkie wasn't on the mentals that gave her the sense boosting to prevent it. What I was like before, but I felt so much more alert. Everything was so clear. It was so easy to think. Not hyper fast like I could when I was on party time mentals, but still easy. If this was what I was like before party time mentals, why did it feel so new? And why wasn't I able to tell? But I had been able to tell. I had known something was wrong for a long time. I felt a tear in my eye and I wondered where it had came from. I looked to the doctor. Now, I can give you advice, but I can't make you take it, the doctor continued. You absolutely need to stay away from party time mentals. It won't be easy. Your body and brain might no longer crave or need them, but most drug addiction is as psychological as it is physical. So I can tell you this won't be difficult, but from what I hear, you have a strong will, and you have strong friends who can help you through it. Not even then. It depends. And I highly recommend staying away from normal mentals, or for that matter, any other addictive substances. Buck, Rage, Dash, all of them. Party time mentals is the most addictive drug out there, but many of the others aren't much better. And with your family history, you are more susceptible to addictions than most ponies. So my advice is to just stay away. The heck was that? Oh my gosh, look at that! I started to nod again and stopped. Wait, what does my family have to do with this? Predisposition towards addiction can be hereditary, Helping Hoof informed me. Your friend Velvet Remedy told me about your mother. My mother? She had no right. She was an alcoholic, was she not? I ground my teeth, staring everywhere but at the doctor. He waited patiently until my spit and fury subsided enough to answer. Well, her cutie mark was a glass of hard apple cider. What else was she going to do? You do know that cutie marks don't control your destiny, right? Oh my gosh, so freaking true, dude. Plot armor. Dude, that baby's gonna go through hell, dude. It's gonna be like Death Stranding, I bet. I just looked away. I wasn't going to be roped into a discussion on my mother, even if they kept me tied down for days. Oh crap, Monterey, how long have I been out? I tried to look at the time on my pitbuck, but my foreleg was strapped down and I remembered swiftly my pitbuck was dead anyway. Doctor, I said, trying not to sound too anxious, how long until Monterey Jack is executed? Please, Luna, give me the strength. The doctor blanked. The cheese shop owner? That was 2 hours ago. I felt a weight the size of a flower pot drop in my stomach, followed by an anvil. Why? Did you know him? I had failed. Oh no, we knew it was gonna happen. Hello, welcome to the party. Oh man, the cheese shop owner died. Oh no, he only tried to rob me. Oh no. Oh no, his poor children, now orphaned. That sucks. Yeah, it does suck. That is very sad. Hopefully they don't get kicked out. God, now they don't have any parent. Yikes. Velvet Remedy was the first to visit me, fresh from Fluttershy Land. She spoke cautiously, trotting on eggshells as she did so. Her horn glowed as she removed the straps holding me down. One at a time, I resisted the urge to go for her throat. No strenuous activity, the doctor had said. Bro, I would have loved it if she just, like, bucked her in the, like, neck, just... I didn't expect you to forgive me, Velvet was saying. Good, I interrupted harshly, because I don't. She winced at my words, but absently continued, or that things will be right between us. But I do expect you to understand why, and to understand why I had to do it now. Why you felt you had to do it now, you mean? I spat, and against my will? You would have gotten the help you needed on your own. This might be the only place in the whole equestrian wasteland that could help you, and you were about to throw it away. I'd already realized I had a problem. I retorted, I was going to ask for help. Oh? Velvet Remedy asked, trapped somewhere between shock and disbelief. When? After we crashed, I realized it then, and I was probably going to ask for help after I'd had some sleep. Convenient. She turned away from me. I didn't need to see her face to tell me she was hiding tears. I could hear them in the tremble of her voice, see it in the shudder of her breast. Horses don't have those, though. I'm very, very certain. Maybe. I don't know. You know what? I'm taking a step away from that. I don't want to know. That is a weird question. I wanted to tear her to pieces with my teeth, and yet I couldn't bear to see her hurt. And I knew that if talked to her anymore, I'd just hurt her more. Maybe she deserved it, but I didn't want to inflict more wounds. Velvet, you need to not be here. She wiped a hoof across her face looking at me. Her eyes were red and puffy, but she didn't let me see the actual tears. Because of what you did, Monterey Jack's children are without a guardian and will soon be without a home, I said, sternly staring at her. To her merit, she stood and took it. I had asked the doctor what would become of them. I had been right that 10 Pony Tower has nothing like an orphanage. I recalled the doctor's words. 10 Pony Tower is a meritocracy, according to Helping Hoof, not a socialist commune. Those who have not earned their right to be here, and who cannot afford the privilege to be here, have no place here. The Colts and Philly would be kicked out of the tower at the end of the month. So you have to help fix it. Send Steelhooves in here. I need to talk to him. and have him bring my saddlebags and utility barding. I need to get my pit-buck running so I can send Blackwing's talons a message. Yes! Calling in the favor! Yes! Yes! The little ones will be protected! I'm going to have them take the children to Shattered Hoof. I frowned. It wasn't ideal, but it was a damn lot better than what those kids would face alone in the Manhattans. But yes! The little ones will have home! Yes! It will be your job to break the news to Monterey's children and persuade them to go. Velvet Remedy's eyes widened, immediately recognizing how emotionally painfully the task I had given her would be, but she nodded, accepting the burden as due reward. Oh, man. I'm so sorry, Little Pip. I'm so sorry, Little Pip, Calamity said, head in his hooves. He had slipped inside the partitions as soon as Velvet Remedy had left. I took a deep breath and gingerly sat up. It was an effort to do so, but my head remained clear and my gut didn't lurch. It was blissful to not be sick or under the effects of withdrawal. You have nothing to apologize for, Calamity, I said, although the angry pony in the back of my head had a few different opinions. Velvet Remedy did this, and she was right to want to help me. I needed help. You're late? No, it's all good. Y'all don't need to say stuff. We'll keep the story going. Calamity looked up to me. I was shocked to see deep pain in his eyes. No, Little Pip. I have the most to apologize for. This is all my fault. I'm the one who gave you those zebra-damned mints in the first place. Flaming sun farts, Calamity was right. For the first time I considered what seeing me losing it to those things must be doing to him. I had been tearing himself up all this time. Oh, merciful Celestia, what I had been doing to my friends. Strenuous or not, I pushed myself from the medical bed and threw my forehooves around Calamity, nuzzling against his neck. Whoa! Give him a hickey! I had no words, no idea what to say, but I hoped that if I hugged him long enough, he'd understand how forgiven he was and how sorry I was. God, dude, that is freaking hilarious. Oh. Oh my god, I had a lot of apologizing to do. How are you doing? I asked Steel Hooves as I plugged my pit-buck up to his magically powered armor, using tools for utility barding. Shouldn't you be the one every pony is asking that? Steel Hooves' deep voice question. I've been out of it for a long time, I admitted. I've missed things. Obvious things. Or at least been too slow in coming to them. I swallowed. For example, you told me that the Ministry of Technology funded 4 stars, and then you discovered what they did. I can't imagine how that must have hit you. I've been dealing with it. Steel Hooves cut me off. But you shouldn't have to deal with it alone. I shook my head. I focused on Velvet Remedy and Calamity, and didn't even see that all my friends were hurting, not just the loud ones. Steel Hooves nickered. Thank you, Little Pip. But like I said, I'm handling it. I nodded, respecting his determination. My pit-buck beeped, demanding my attention. Okay, but I am here for you. Really here now, I added. If I can help at all, if you just need somebody to talk to, I'd rather not. I shut up for the next half hour and I focused on getting my pit-buck working again. By the time I was done, the little leg-worn device was operating more smoothly and effectively than it had in months. I floated the broadcaster out of my saddlebags and sent Blackwing the message. She was annoyed by the task I required of her, but more relieved that I contacted her so quickly, calling in the favor for something that didn't amount to anything worse than an annoyance. By the Great Egg Kid, I'm half tempted to call this 3 favors, but then I'd have to figure out how many more I'd owed you for hooking us up with God and a Shattered Hoof operation. I was feeling like my wings had been pulled for a bit there. Thank you, Blackwing, Velvet Remedy. We'll have the little ponies waiting for you at the 4-star station at 10 Pony Tower. I cut the broadcast. Still Hooves remained silent for a while longer. Are you sure? I began to ask as I put my tools away. Little Pip, you're the sort of mare who makes me wish I was a better pony. He sounded sad. Only one other mare has ever made me feel that way, and sooner or later, you're bound to learn, just like she did, that I'm not a better pony. Stillhooves walked out of the Helping Hoof clinic. No, I'm good. I don't need a boba tea. I'm good. Got my own crud. Oh, that's just more for you, you know. Where's Steelhooves? Should he really be up, little Pip? Calamity asked, his eyes widening with concern as I burst into the suite. Do you know where he is? After Steelhooves had left, I had just stared. It took several minutes for the sinking sensation to fully prompt me into action, and by then, I had lost track of him. Well, last I saw, he was talking to Chief Grimstar. No, I turned and galloped for the elevator. It took me too long, way too long, to find the door to the basement. I pushed myself beyond the point where I should have collapsed, racing an invisible clock where I found the door. My state of alarm intensified. It should have been locked. Instead, the door hung slightly open. I dashed inside, then stopped, leaning against a cold concrete wall, fighting loss of breath. The basement was a cluttered maze. The walls down here were too thick for my eyes for a sparkle to detect ponies, friends, or foe. Beyond the room I was in, I was forced to search by sight alone. Finally, in a back room, I found a heavy set of doors under an ancient warning sign, whose paint was peeling. Emergency shelter, authorized unicorns only. Like the door to the basement, these doors were open. My pit buck lit up. One friendly pony. Steelhooves? I turned on the light of my pit buck and saw the Steel Ranger standing in the gloom, facing another large door made of thick steel, and set with a tiny window of armored glass. There was a control panel, inches from his raised right hoof. Steelhooves! I called out, panting, a burning stitch in my sides. Don't do it! The Steel Ranger lowered his armored hoof and turned to look at me. Don't do what? He asked so casually I wanted to scream. Don't let them in. The Steel Ranger cocked his head. Oh, don't worry, little Pip. No ponies getting in through this door. I've made sure it can't be used ever again. What? Oh, thank the goddesses. I collapsed on the cold stone floor, feeling like I would never be able to stand again. But it was okay. All my fears had been in my head. Steelhooves trotted up to me. Did you really think I lit in the zombie ponies? That I'd allow all the innocent ponies in 10 Pony Tower to perish? You really don't know me at all, do you? He trotted past me, leaving me there. No, I admitted, feeling utterly ashamed as well as beyond exhausted. No, I didn't know Steelhooves, and maybe it was time that I stopped thinking ill of my friends, start trusting them more. They really are good ponies, and they really are trying to help. My thoughts were interrupted by a thud. Chief Grimstar's face appeared on the other side of the window. Flesh had been torn from the side of his head. I could see him staring in with desperation and horror pounding on the other side of the doors. Then, the zombie ponies fell upon him once again, pulling him away from the window as they tore him to pieces, eating him alive. Footnote, level up. New perk, Reaper Ponies Gallop. If you kill a target while using stats, 25% of your AP are restored after dropping the spell. This will usually refresh your targeting spell enough to use it again immediately for at least one more attack. Dun dun dun! No, there's no pictures. This is a book we're reading. Oh my goodness. Holy cow. And that was the end of chapter 19. I think we've only been here for an hour and a half, so I think I might be able to pull another off. I think I will. No, that wasn't long. Oh, no. Oh, you don't know. Woo! Yeah, we're reading a book here, technically. Hold on a sec. Okay. So I will say though, the longest one of these I have read is, in one go, is 17,000 words. I will be reading a total of 19,000 words in this one. Something around there. Probably around 20,000 if you add the hundreds together. So, if everyone wants to go, like, take a 2-minute whatever break, go grab something, get a snack, get a drink or whatnot, and then we'll start up here again in, like, 2 minutes. I will, yeah. We'll do 2 minutes. What? We've already finished Half-Life 2 on this channel. There's no more. We did it all. Minus Half-Life Alyx, but that requires setting up and I don't feel like doing that. Not right now. Do 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 do. Hold on, let's just get some elevator. No, wait, maybe no. Maybe no elevator music. That risks copyright, I don't know. Don't you bra me. I did my time. I put my time into it. The streams were there. I'm playing. Ugh, maybe we should wait till like... Maybe we should wait 2 more minutes, get a nice even number. Alright, we will start in 1 minute. Roughly, give or take. There's no point. We're about to start here anyway. Do 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 do. All right, let's get this reading going. I know, so I know I have to sacrifice my life reading more than 1 chapter in a day just so I can finish the story. But it's okay. Beats, welcome back. We're just starting chapter 20. We just got done with chapter 19. All right, so chapter 20, Behind the Curtain. Can I do something for you? Or to you? I'm not sure under what context you mean by that. I kind of just read it. we go as we go. Failure. I couldn't save Monterey Jack. I couldn't stop Steelhoofs from murdering Chief Grimstar. I was letting down my friends and everyone who needed me. The realization of what I had been doing to those closest to me with my damn addiction cut deep. And as much as I wanted to rage at Velvet Remedy, it was my fault that Monterey Jack was dead. I'd killed him with a mint. Actually, I'd killed him with a whole lot of them. I had been eating them like, damn it, they actually tasted like candy. How fucking wrong is that? Dude, a party time menthol sounds so freaking good though, so like I can't say I blame Little Pip for their addiction. They sound delicious. I was physically exhausted and mentally overwhelmed, on the verge of crying. So true. It took me a long time to pull myself up off the floor and make my way back. The basement was huge, cluttered maze-like. I took the wrong turn and found myself in a room full of spark power generators, half of which were running, making the whole room seem to throb. A bank of them on the far wall were burned and blackened, their metal skins ruptured. One exploded generator was randomly sparking, making the air taste like lightning. The skeleton of a pony, severed in two by a hunk of metal shrapnel, rested forever on the floor. A few yards from them, an engineering schematic on the wall told me these had been the generators which powered the ministry's mystical defenses. They had given their lives saving the building and its inhabitants for the Manhattan Balefire bomb. Well, all except for one very unlucky maintenance pony. I wondered what her or his name had been. Did the pony have a family? Did they know what happened? I guess it depends on the context. All moot, 200 years later, just one more tear. I backtracked and finally found my way to the exit. As I stepped out through the basement doorway, I was greeted by two 10-pony tower guard ponies. Little Pip, you need to come with us. I stared at them, then back to the open basement door. Was I being arrested? A weight sunk in my heart. They must think that I was responsible for the disappearance of Chief Grimstar. That was fast. But then, I had been running around like a mad pony earlier, and here I was, leaving the scene of the crime. Because today just couldn't get any worse. I nodded to the guards, saying nothing, and let them escort me to the constabulary offices. I'd been here before. I wondered if any of the ponies I had played seductress with in order to get a private audience with Monterey Jack would be there. They wouldn't need to execute me. I could simply die from embarrassment. Nah, there's no such thing as late. Welcome to the party. Okay. Oh my god. Freaking now Steam 2. I can't win. If I'm not getting Discord notifications, I'm getting Steam notifications. Let me shut that crud down. Oh my god, that sucks. That's my life. One thing I wasn't going to say, anything. I knew what Steelhooves had done, but what would be the use of pointing a hoof? I've learned that lesson with Monterey Jack. Ponies turned to stare as they marched me through the 10-pony constabulary. I could half hear the whispers that followed in my passing. I recognized a few of the guards on duty, including the one I had sweet-talked into giving me his pencil so I could write down all the ideas that my party-time-fueled brain had been devising. I dropped my head, wanting to crawl. I glanced up as we passed several guard ponies talking with Steelhooves. From the look of things, he was here of his own volition. That did not bode well. In here, please, one of the escorts demanded. To my surprise, the door he swung open for me wasn't to a cell, but to a nice-looking office paneled in fake wood and full of bookshelves. Take a seat, and don't wander off. Some pony will be with you shortly. I looked at him in confusion. Sorry about the delays. We've had a situation with the chief. You're not our first priority today. Who? I was so weary that I sank onto the little couch in the office and didn't move. This is gonna be an interrogation room, isn't it? Waiting for what seemed like hours, I checked my pit buck. It was getting late. I was hungry and confused. There was a small radio on a desk corner. I turned it on, wanting to lose myself in DJ Pwn 3's music. Instead, I was shocked to hear Steelhooves' deep voice rumble from the box. I'm no hero. If you're looking for a hero, look to Chief Grimstar. He bravely sacrificed himself to save all of you. I only wish I could have saved him. Sheriff Rottingtail had been gathered in a veritable army of zombie ponies in the maintenance tunnel surrounding 10 Pony Tower. There was a door in the basement through which the sheriff was going to unleash them upon the innocent residents of this tower. It would have been a slaughter. The Talons hired by Chief learned of this threat, but were not pleased with how things went down. When I encountered the Talons, there were considerably fewer of them than when Chief Grimstar hired them, so they neglected to inform the Chief of any of this, leaving all of your lives in jeopardy. When I informed the Chief, he insisted we go down to investigate the Talon's story. We found the door and ventured through with the intention of making sure it could not be opened from the outside. We were destroying the terminal that controlled the door access from the maintenance tunnels when the zombie ponies attacked us en masse. Only my armor saved me. I still remember the Grimstar's last words, ordering me to flee, close the door, and make sure it was disabled from inside the tower as well. He stayed back, fighting to the bitter end, sacrificing himself to give me the time needed to make sure 10 Pony Tower was and is safe. I stared at the radio. By Celestia's mane, he was actually going to pull this off, wasn't he? There was so much truth woven into the story that it would hold up to investigation, and any pony who questioned it would be questioned by the heroism of Chief Grimstar. I knew different, but I was the only one, and it would be my word against his, my very non-citizen word, that I would say anything. I'd already made the mistake of going down that path. DJ Pone 3's voice was now on the radio. From an interview an hour ago with one of my faithful assistants, the 10 Pony Constabulary has confirmed the Steel Ranger's tale based on a computer entry left by Chief Grimstar. Oh wait, was that why you trotted into here? My lockpicking skills seemed virtually unique, but I doubted my ability to hack a terminal was nearly so rare. And if any pony could do it, who was more likely than a knight of the Ministry of Technology? It was just a guess, a suspicion, but it struck me that Steelhooves was covering his bases. Part of me almost admired what he was capable of. Part of me was angry that he was using Homage's broadcast, dedicated to the truth of the wasteland, no matter how bad it hurt, to spread his lies. I turned off the radio. Oh man. Goodness gracious. Some pony finally arrived to speak with me. The debonair gentle stallion who took his place on the other side of the desk was a mottled brown unicorn with glasses, perched on his nose and a scroll for a cutie mark. Sorry to keep you waiting. Let's get down to business, shall we? I nodded glumly. I was no longer curious why I was here. I just wanted to get whatever it was over with so I could go. The unicorn levitated several scrolls onto the desk and opened them. Now, you should be aware that there are expenses that have to be accounted for. For the cost of the rope used to hang Monterey Jack was 30 bottle caps. Fine stuff. Premium made. Cost for the executioner was 25 bottle caps. Then there are cremation expenses. The stallion looked over his glasses at me. Unless, of course, you would rather they just throw his body out into the street for the birds. His tone suggested that would be looked on as uncivilized, but that was required to give me the option. Cremation itself is 100 caps plus an additional 57 for the basic box. Are you kidding me, bro? Oh my goodness, why are they making them pay for Monterey Jack's own problems? Oh my god. I stared with downing comprehension. I was gonna have to pay for Monterey Jack's execution. I was dumbfounded. How in Equestria did that make sense? But I thought, as I sank into depression, it did make sense. It was my fault that he was dead. Why shouldn't I have to pay for it? I listened dispiritedly as the list of fees and expenses and legal charges grew and grew. 1 year's rent for both the cheese shop and his private quarters, amounting to 7,200 bottle caps altogether. Required expenses and fees amount of a total of 9,047 bottle caps. I stared vacantly for a moment, then nodded. With a sigh, I asked, how long do I have to pay this? I don't have that kind of money. As a group, we had easily more than double that, but I couldn't feel right about draining such a huge amount of bottle caps from what was Calamity and Velvet Remedy's money as well. Steel hooves too, although I felt less of a pang about that. Maybe someday. Not any time now. I have other crud I have to do. The gentle stallion just blinked at me. Perfect. By their standards, I was poor. I mean, I could probably pay about half of it now. Giving me an odd look, the stallion informed me it's already been taken out of the accounts. Unfortunately, Monterey Jack didn't have sufficient funds to pay for all of it in caps, so a fair amount of personal property was confiscated for auction in accordance to he drones off of legalese that went completely over my main. Confusion scrambled my thoughts. So I didn't have to pay for Monterey Jack's execution? Then why pull me in here to tell me all this? Did they just assume I wanted to know so I could gloat? Was I legally required to gloat? The gentle stallion was staring at me again. A frown broke across his face. Well, I just lost that bet, he muttered to himself, then addressing me. You have no idea why you're here, do you? I shook my head. Monterey Jack was convicted of attempted banditry. You were the pony he tried to rob. Therefore, upon his death, all of his properties are legally yours. Wait, what? Wait, what? It was bad enough when I thought I was being punished. I had made peace with that because I deserved no less for my stupidity and failure. Now I was being rewarded for it. No, the world did not get to be that fucked up. I refused to let it. The stallion considered me. Honestly, there are a number of ponies who suspected that Monterey Jack's confession might have been more from the magic of your horn than weight of his conscience. He informed me. I remember the whispering as I passed by. Of course they did. Any pony who knew about this twisted bit of legalese would suspect me. Even I hadn't been able to comprehend why Monterey Jack had confessed until I'd talked with him privately. The legal stallion continued. I personally had laid good caps that this was some sort of plot cooked up between you and Monterey Jack. Again he frowned. Clearly not. I started at that. What? He died? What kind of plan would that have been? The stallion shrugged. We all know Monterey Jack hadn't been right since his wife died. After Clarinet was killed. I'm all they have left. Clarinet, right? I asked, and the legal stallion nodded. He mentioned his wife. What happened to her? There's a rumor that there's an untouched stable somewhere in Fetlock. A few months back, they were trying to find it. Never did. No pony has. My heart sank. It was absurd to feel guilty for having found stable 29 myself, wasn't it? She was killed by a manticore, according to Monterey Jack. He killed the thing, but not before I had stung them both and torn her up right bad. Poor fellow only had enough anti-venom for one, and she insisted he use it himself. With her wounds, according to Monterey, she probably would have made it, even if he had given it to her. The stallion shook his head. Of course, that's just how Monterey's told it, but I've never known the stallion to lie before. Sweet, merciful Celestia. The legal stallion cleared his throat and turned back to the documents in front of him, returning to the matter at our hooves. Even after fees and deductions, you are still left with the private quarters, the deed and business license of the shop, and a modest amount of home furnishings. Of course, there are two matters which must be attended to. This was so wrong. I couldn't be gaining property from Monterey's tragedy. I couldn't accept this. I didn't deserve this. First, of course, is the simple fact that you are not a citizen of Ten Pony Tower, and as such, you are not permitted to operate business within the tower. Normally, it takes several years to earn citizenship, but with the legal standing of these properties, if you started applications now, you could possibly achieve citizenship within little more than a year. He looked over his glasses, fixing me with a stare. Still, it is this office's recommendation that you sell off the deed and business rights to the shop to some more mayor or gentile who is more citizen. Make yourself a tidy little sum and be done with it. I nodded. I wondered if Homage had any use for an ex-cheese shop. Second is the matter of Monterey Jack's children. My ears shot up. What was this? Who are legally allowed to remain in the private quarters until the end of the month. So while you do legally own the property, I'm afraid you won't be able to kick them out until the first of... I felt like I had been hit by a piano. By the twisted legal fuckery of 10 Pony Tower. I was the only bucking Monterey Jack's filly and colts into the deadly wasteland. I felt I was finally seeing behind the curtain. Monterey Jack's execution made me the heroine his children worshipped, into the ponies stealing their home from them just after their father died. The ultimate buck when they're down, unless of course I did something about it. Exactly like I had already done, I'd taken care of them even before this trap had snapped shut. I looked up at the stallion as new feeling burned away my depression. Anger. You just gotta stay around, man. I've done too many recaps this session. I've done enough recaps. I'm good. He played me. I screamed at the walls of my suit, telekinetically overturning all the beds. My eyes were burning with tears, my heart pounded with rage. He set me up. I made the blankets tornado about the room. I was the goody four-shoes filly he knew he could manipulate, and he was right. I stomped on all hooves. The blanket soared at the window and rebounded off the glass. I hated Monterey Jack. I wanted him dead, but he was already dead. And I wasn't some pony who could change her mind and take the frustration out on his children. He was so right about me. So instead, I took my fury out on my room and was thankful that none of my companions were around to see me do it. It was too much. The shame of my addiction, the pain of how it hurt my friends, the betrayal of Velvet Remedy's actions, and now Monterey Jack's four-hoof fucking of me from beyond the grave. I hurled one of the saddlebag against the wall. If levitation could have any real force behind it, I probably would have punched a hole in the room. As it was, the saddlebags just clanked against the wall, opening and spilling its contents. A lifetime's worth of party time Mentols rained down on the floor, the stash from Pinkie Pie's safe. I stared at the pile of tins frozen in place. It took only a moment to transfer all my rage and sorrow onto the drugs. Before I knew it, I was in the bathroom, dumping tin after tin into the toilet water, cursing them and myself for everything we had done to my life together. Flush. There went a month's worth. Flush. There went dozens more. I was throwing away countless bottle caps worth of them. And good riddance. They would never have the chance to hurt any pony else. Flush. There went what I allowed myself to become dependent upon. Flush. What I let come between me and the ponies who were closer to me than my family had ever been. I was crying so hard. I barely see what I was doing, but I didn't need to. Flush. 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 The last tin of Party Time Mentos floated in front of me, hovering over the toilet. Open. I just had to tilt it and flush. Easiest thing in the world. Telekinetic child's play. A tilt and a flush. The tin hovered. There. Not tilting. The last tin. For all the damage they had done, that I had let them do. My Party Time Mentos had saved my life, and the lives of my friends, more than once. Should I keep just one tin? Just in case? No, you are not going to joke about that. You are not going to joke about that. That is not okay. But if I took even one more, I could become addicted again. It only took one of them the first time, and I couldn't do that. To myself. I wasn't Monterey Jack. I wasn't willing to screw me over like that. The tin started to tip. But what if the mental clarity was the only thing which could save my friends? What if it was Calamity's life on the line, or Velvet Remedies, or Steelhooves? Wouldn't they be worth the sacrifice of myself? Are you talking about the chat or the story? Yes, yes they would. The tin leveled and began floating back towards me. But could I do that to them? Put them through it all again? And wouldn't it be a betrayal to even keep one tin? Yeah, no, I'm just reading. Just reading what you all are up to. You know, I think you all should just stop trying to make jokes. You should just probably cut it out right now before you dig yourselves a rabbit hole. That is not okay. No, I'm not sad. No, but decency exists. And some jokes aren't funny, you know? There's a time and a place, but really shouldn't be making those kind of jokes, you know? Let's see. Yes, they would. The tin leveled and began floating back towards me. Could I keep one tin? The tin stopped floating about a look to Little Pip. Homage's voice startled me from the bathroom doorway. My magic imploded, dropping the tin into the toilet, metal case and all. I looked at her, startled, eyes red and puffy, knowing I looked like a completely ugly mess. Homage stepped into the bathroom looking peacefully and elegant in her dress. I cringed back, not wanting to accidentally touch it with my filthy body. She didn't let me get away. She grabbed me, pulling me against her breast. I couldn't contain myself anymore and broke into open weeping. I heard the metal tin as Homage levitated out into water and dropped in the pile of empty others. I am not going to do that. I am not going to... If anything, I would write a story. I am not going to make an AU. I have plenty more things to worry about. I am an adult. I have very little time to want to... I'm not interested in learning how to make art, really. You know? I respect artists. Absolutely. 100% respect artists, but I'm not going to do that. Just reading the stories and enough, getting all that crud done, that's already a lot. But making a story, not anytime soon. No thanks, I'm good. For now, I'm good. At some point, Homage nudged me from my suite up to the Athenaeum where she lived. She played a soft music and stayed close to me, leaving DJ Pwn 3's broadcasts on news less of songs. How long before this makes the news cycle? I asked rarely as the sun was beginning to set. Homage gave me a gentle but reproachful look. Toaster repair pony kicks addiction. More at the top of the hour? The pretty gray unicorn gave me a nudge with her nose. Really? I don't think that's something for the airwaves, do you? Toes to repair pony kicks. Yikes. Oof, that's deep. I smiled gratefully to her. Let me cook you something to eat, Homage said before she dared leave my side. I realized how badly I was starving. I hadn't eaten for the better part of 2 days. Homage put to shame the restaurants of Ten Pony Tower with their woven fried banana puree and whatnot. Simple, delicious cooking, and she didn't mind cooking more when I finished off everything and was still hungry. After dinner, I was feeling tired and emotionally drained, not to mention very full, but I now had enough energy to help her clean up. Where did you learn to cook like that? I asked, wishing we had someone with even half her skill traveling with us. I was sorely tempted to suggest she join us, and not just for her food, but I knew she was needed here. All Equestrian Wasteland depended on DJ Pone 3. My delinquent youth, she hinted with a wink. I pressed her with the hoof and she elaborated. I really was an assistant to the last DJ Pone 3. That's how I took up the mantle when he fell ill. I was the only one who knew him. The magic voice spell has been passed down for at least 5 DJ Pone 3s, so the Wasteland never knows there has been a change. I nodded, having suspected. I am not going to answer that question. But I do get income. I am not going to say how much. And YouTube is not the only thing I do. I do a lot more than just YouTube. I have little time even doing this, if I'm being honest. But, you know, we make time. I nodded, having suspected as much. I spent several years after getting my cutie mark running around the Manhattan ruins and beyond with Joe Blue, a close friend. The friend I realized that she had mentioned before. The area between here and Philadelphia wasn't as deadly then as it is now. I hunted for recordings and memory orbs to give to DJ Pone 3, in the hopes that they would have new music or useful news for the broadcast. Did other errands for DJ Pone 3 earned my way into the tower? Learned how to survive along the way, cooking, weapon maintenance, a lot of practice hacking computers to get into locked doors and safes? I thought of all the hacking and lockpicking I'd done, driven largely by curiosity and need to explore and to know. Even if what I learned didn't mean anything, like keeping the memory was an acknowledgement of and tribute to the past. Joke Blue was the one who knew her way around weapons and had skill to disarm traps. Homage trailed off as clearly painful memory hit her. Do you want to talk about her? Homage smiled, a tear in her eye. Most traps. Some cruel bastard rigged up a baby carriage with explosive. Is the corpse of a newborn colt and recording of a baby's crying to lure victims in. I cringed, horrified. By the time she was close enough to realize the baby was dead, it was too late to run. She tried to disarm it, but the dear unicorn's voice broke off, choked. I think we all know the answer to that one. I don't even think I have to answer that. I think that one's been made pretty obvious. I stretched out on Homage's bed as she gave me a massage. Either she had learned a lot from our visit to spa, or she'd had practice. Either way, it was wonderful. If I was a cat, I would have been purring. I felt her press against me as she leaned close to whisper in my ear. I know you're under a doctor's orders to relax and not exert yourself. You listen about as well as most of the patients. I nodded, not wanting to really talk about that, or really about anything. What she was doing with her hooves was divine. She was pressing them in circles against my back of my legs at the base of my rump. Woo! Saucy. But not as skilled as professional spa ponies, maybe, but unspeakably more delightful because it was Homage doing it. So I won't apologize for helping you break them further. I had no idea what she was. Oh, hello! Whoa! 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 Saucy! Saucy! Deep! We are not reading that! Woo! Oh my goodness, that got intense. Sheesh. Dang, dude. That's just called moving on with life. That's called living. The real world is rough. I sat up. Dude, I am amazed we went over that. I sat up so like is you out a dark window. Beside me, Homer stared in bed, open her eyes and measures of coat. Little Pip, she questioned sleepily. I told her I thought I'd seen a flash of green outside the window. It reminded me of a flash I noticed of fog nearly a week ago. Probably just a balefire phoenix. Homage dismissed, nuzzling close. There are several of them in Manhattan. Yeah, I nodded, but I think this one has been following us. Oh man. We spent the next morning together. Homage left the bed long enough to cook us breakfast, and then against a couple hours later to poke around in the emergency broadcast station above us. The news this time included a retelling of my brave and daring rescue of Blackwing's talents, including congratulations from DJ Pone 3 on once again stomping 2 eggs under 1 hoof. Apparently, I had taken out 3 alicorns single-hoofedly by blowing up a raider compound. I buried my head under the sheets. I shouldn't be surprised. In fact, I would have been surprised if Calamity had given her expression permission to lay that at my hooves. Homage had proven she really did enjoy making me scream every way she could. She was gone for the better part of an hour, leaving me to my thoughts. When she returned, I reluctantly decided to broach an uncomfortable topic. The Black Opal. Dreams are iffy. That is a crazy, crazy question. I'm not even... It's like, think about it as finding your cutie mark. It's hard to do. I'm not too sure I can give you a solid answer on that. She was gone for the better part of an hour, leaving Black Opal. That thing? She asked immediately, knowing what I was talking about. I expected her to ask why I wanted it, but instead, how did you know I had one of those? I bit my lip. An acquaintance wants me to procure it. I looked away, then back into her eyes. I was very tempted to tell the pony to just fuck off, but I figured I would ask. Please feel free to say no. I don't want anything to come between us right now, or really ever. Homage regarded me for a painful moment, then smirked. Dear, the only thing coming between us for the last several hours has been sweat. But even I had to attend to business as much as I wanted to slack off. I'm not going to begrudge you doing the same. I breathed a sigh of relief. And... that is a very true statement. And yes, you can have it. She caught my eyes with an earnest gaze. I have a gift for you, too. But the Black Opal? Think of it as a down payment. I have a quest I want to hire you for. My eyes widened in surprise. Anything. Oh god, I don't know. Those are, so tricky questions. Oh, I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure I know which one I would prefer. She laughed. You might not say that after I tell you what it is, but you and your friends? You were planning to head towards Philadelphia, aren't you? The laughter in her voice died as she spoke that name. I nodded firmly. I'm still convinced that something is escalating in the Equestrian wasteland, something involving Red-Eye and the Alicorns. I know they've been around for quite a while, I told her. Long enough for Steelhooves to become known to the monsters as the mighty Alicorn hunter, sarcastically at least. Questioning my theory, the Alicorns have been around a long time, right? But I'm guessing they've gotten a lot more common. Homage considered that, hadn't even heard of them 10 years ago. Now they're all over the place, in Camelot, and this last year, I've noticed groups of them showing up in Manhattan too. I nodded again. When I uncover what's going on, DJ Pone 3 will be the first to know. I promise. And all of Equestria will know soon after. Homage swore. Although I may get a foreleg up on you. I suspected the Inuit was potential. If you complete this not so little task for me, you remember that bank of blank screens on the EBS? I don't know what that is. Equestria broadcast system? I'd taken note on them when she first allowed me inside the Mace BS. I have no clue. And let me look around. I told her so. Those are the feeds from the Philadelphia Tower. Red Eye has taken control of that tower, or at least the 3% of the tower that I normally have access to, and locked me out of it. If you are going that way, I want you to attach an override to the mainframe in the tower station. That will allow DJ Pwn 3 to finally have eyes in that horrible place. Red Eye has operated long enough in the shadows. I put a hoof down, although stomping a pillow didn't have nearly the effect. Agreed. Oh, this is getting deep. I have no clue. I have no idea. No idea. Yeah, Fallout Equestria, definitely made for a mature audience. This is not for kids. This is not made for kids. These alicorns in this story are false alicorns. These are not real alicorns, I should say. Holmes pulled down a picture of Splendid Valley. That's what I was talking about. Splendid Valley. Like a stream. I think that's what I was talking about last stream. Revealing a wall safe with a door of thickly armored glass. It opened for her magic with a click. There were 3 times inside, 2 of which she floated out, giving to me. The first was the black opal. I gazed at the item full of memories that Watcher wanted so badly. I want to give this to you as a gift, Homa said with a soft smile and a warm but insistent voice as she floated out the brightly pink statuette of a very familiar pony. I had never seen Pinkie Pie look so young and so alive. I half expected the statuette to jump up, animated by the sheer energy in her expression, and start bouncing around the room. This, I realized, was the real Pinkie Pie. Twilight's Pinkie Pie. In comparison, the mare I had seen in the memory seemed like a shadow. It was a gift given to me from the previous DJ Pwn 3, who got it from the one before him. I'm told it was given to the original DJ Pwn 3 Final Scratch by the mayor of the Ministry of Morale herself. The figurine gave off such an aura of unbridled happiness that I couldn't imagine any pony's morale sagging around her. That was a weirdly phrased sentence. It has served me well, and now I want to give it to you. I looked to Homage, feeling a startled reluctance. I couldn't. This was an heirloom. It wasn't. It was. It was. I know what you've been through, and I know that you went through it too. You beat it. She didn't. I want you to have this as a reminder, as something to look at anytime you feel the urge to bite down on another Mintal. I swallowed hard and nodded solemnly, understanding the gravity of this gift. I reached out with my magic, wrapping my little Pinkie Pie in a telekinetic sheath, and immediately felt a jolt. Everything became clearer. My body became more alive. It was more than a little like biting into a Mental's, but I tasted like candy. It tasted like candy. Apples and cupcakes, frosting. What did? Part of my mind insisted it wasn't like I had just put anything in my mouth. Between the Twilight statuette and Pinkie Pie, I felt almost like I was on Mentals without them. Only cleaner, better, more wholesome. Oh my god, you all have the frickin' wildest guesses. I'm not telling you regardless, but you guys are hitting a different realm. Ugh. Dude, if I was 60, I would probably be a vampire. I probably wouldn't sound like this if I was 60 years old. I'm just saying. It's not really insulting. I'm not. I thought it was funny. I'm not really insulted by that at all. I know what you've been through, and I know that she went through it too. You beat it. She didn't. I want you to have this as a reminder. I still bite down on the mental. Oh, yikes. I swallowed hard and nodded solemnly, understanding the gravity of this gift. I reached out with my magic, wrapping the little Pinkie Pie in a telekinetic sheath, and immediately felt a jolt. Everything became clearer. My body became more alive. It was more than a little like biting into a menthol, but it tasted like candy apples and cupcake frosting. What did? Part of my mind insisted. It wasn't like I had just put anything in my mouth. Between Twilight Statuette and Pinkie Pie, I felt almost like I was on menthols without them. Only cleaner, better, more wholesome. Oh, that is so adorable. I turned my statuette around to read the base. It didn't match the others. Of course, it wouldn't match the others. Yeah, for real, bro. If I am 60 years old and I sound like this, I am definitely some sort of supernatural entity. I should probably be locked up in a SCP containment cell. I shouldn't be here. Ugh. I'm not answering the craziest questions. I turned the statuette around to read the base. It didn't match the others. Of course, it wouldn't match the others. Answerness, it was under E. E for Enclave. I felt joyous and heartbroken at the same time. The statuette was a reminder, both of what I had been wrong and of the cost I had not been pulled from the abyss by my friends. A sorrowful acknowledgement of the damage I had done, and now I needed a repair, and a messenger telling me that I had the strength to not do it again. And perhaps most of all, a keepsake from Homage, letting me know she understood my weakness, with acceptance and forgiveness. Thank you, Homage. This means more than you can know. I floated it into my saddlebags, which Homage had apparently floated up here with us. While I was too emotional out of it to notice, opening the flap to the pouch which held 3 other statuettes. I took a piece of cloth and tied Pinkie next to Twilight. Now they could be together again. It was silly, but it just felt right. As Homage closed the safe, I took note of the last mounted inside the safe. There was some sort of magical energy pistol, but not of any make I had ever seen, and with a grip that wouldn't fit in any pony's mouth. I don't know. Curiosity sparked. I asked Homage about it. Long story she told me. One night, Joke Blue and I were poking our hooves around Fetlock, trying to find a stable we'd heard rumors about, when there was a strange explosion that lit up the clouds above. At first we thought it was thunder, but then all sorts of debris started raining out of the sky, chunks of the strangest sky wagon you ever laid eyes on. We took cover in a burned out passenger wagon. When it was over, I found that thing amongst the rubble. Homage chuckled. Okay, maybe not that long a story. What? Yeah, true. Dude, if I had wings, what else am I gonna do to them? Not use them? Good questions. Yeah, no idea. Nastiest magical gun the Equestrian Wasteland has ever seen to my knowledge. One shot from that thing will turn whatever you hit into vapor, and not the magical energy weapons you've seen, which do that only once in a blue moon, every single time. Homage actually sounded scared of the gun. I believe you could kill a dragon with the one shot from that thing. And with those words, so did I. Honestly, I'm more so here to read the story. So y'all are asking some of the most strangest questions I have yet lays eyes upon in a live chat before. I gotta admit. Dragons with one shot from that thing. And with those words, so did I. Where did it come from? I wondered aloud. The idea that there were ponies, the Pegasi maybe, with weapons that devastatingly chilled me tail to forehooves. Joke Blue figured it was some sort of flying tank that the Pegasi were experimenting with that blew up on them. Me. Homage swallowed. I know I'm being foolish, but I can't help but think it fell from a lot higher than that. Higher? I had the strange mental image of items falling into Equestria from the moon, emptying from Nightmare Moon's toy chest. Homage looked a bit embarrassed. You'll laugh. Hello! Hello, hello! Greet the Ings. I promised I wouldn't, and resolved not to, no matter how hard it was. The beautifully sexy gray unicorn took a moment to gather her thoughts, then starting cautiously, I once met a zebra. That wasn't what I expected her to say at all. My ears shot up. I leaned forward. They don't have the same relationship to the sky that we do. Obviously, since they have no Pegasi. But it's more than that. Before the apocalypse, we ponies had always looked to the sky with a sense of joy and safety. We saw the sun guided through the sky by Celestia during the day, and the moon, Luna's charge, keeping an eye on us during the night. Princess Celestia and Princess Luna were our benevolent rulers, and even though most ponies never met them personally, the sun and the moon were symbols of their kind presence everywhere and to every pony in Equestria. Yeah, I know, y'all are tweaking. No answer, no idea. I felt my body leaning closer, wanting to catch every word of this. I'd never heard Celestia and Luna spoken of this way. When they perished in the apocalypse and the Pegasi closed off the sky, stealing the sun and the moon from us, we turned them into deities to keep them always with us. Even those trapped underground in the stables seemed to do so, a parallel evolution. By the time I have, it'll never happen. It will never in my life happen to get 5 million subs. But by the time I would have gotten there, I definitely would have done some sort of reveal by then. I don't know how it would be possible for me to get up to 5 million subs and not do a reveal of any kind. No, I'm not worried. Dude, no one's gonna freaking recognize me by my voice. No way. I felt my body leaning closer, wanting to catch every word of this. I never heard Celestia and Luna spoken this way, especially because I could be really anywhere, you know? When they perished in the apocalypse and the Pegasi closed off the sky, stealing the sun, and plus, like, not a lot of people watch the channel anyway. The odds of me even meeting somebody that actually watches here, like, close to non-existent. Stealing the sun and the moon from us, we turned them into deities because always with our... What she was saying was almost blasphemous, but I bucked away the desire to admonish her. Leaning precariously closer to her, Homage had a perspective that I wanted to hear. Even if I probably would not have listened to it from any pony else, she made me wonder, ask questions. For instance, would this explain why Calamity did not believe in the goddesses? Was atheism a Pegasus trait? Unlike us, they had never lost the embrace of the sun and the moon. The zebras, though, they cringed from the sky. Homage said, the statement was something I would have expected from a propaganda poster, not a pony who had learned this directly from a zebra. But I knew Homage, and it would not be like her to speak objectively truth as she knew it. The zebras look up and see the stars staring down at us from a great black emptiness, and the stars, they know, are not benevolent. Ugh. Man, if chat scared me, I can just disable it, you know? Why be afraid of it? I can end it at any moment I want. This chat could go Gone. I am not an Italian, no. that much I do know. Homage, and it would not like her to not speak objectively truth as she knew it. The zebras look up and see this. I already read that. Only further tipped over and fell on my face. Homage stopped covering a chuckle with her hoof. When I'd gone back up, probably looking as sheepish as I felt, she continued, "There is intelligence up there, the zebras believe, from the stars themselves. The stars burn with cold, malicious fire. No number of them could warm the sky at night. They wish ill on our world, and sometimes they will act, not against us directly, but to enable us to harm and ruin ourselves." I opened my muzzle, the suggestion that the zebras were a bit batty dying on my lips. Yes, it sounded insane, but didn't we have legends that suggested the same? I recall the story of the mare on the moon, the real version, not that stallion on the moon nonsense. The stars will aid in her escape. In particular, the tell of four malevolent stars with hearts of cruelty and chaos which yearn to taste our pain and destruction, wrought by our own hooves. With a grimace, Homage added, "If there's any truth to the zebra mythology, I'd guess we'd given them quite the banquet. 4 stars helping destroy Equestria? Now why did that sound familiar?" Homage shrugged off the eerie atmosphere that had settled in the room by her tail. "Anyway, like I said, foolish. Joke Blue was probably right. Some Pegasus experiment that blew up right in their faces." I'd probably say something along like the lines of thank you like every other person out there, cause what else are you supposed to say, you know? Cautiously, Homage at my side, I lowered my horn towards the black opal. If I was going to give this to Washer, I wanted to know what was on it first. It was only reluctantly that I touched the opal with my magic and let it take Homage and her Athenium away from me. No, I'm good. I'm good. Last thing I'm going to do is share any possible problems with the people of the internet. I am good. I don't need to do that. That is not wise of me. I felt strangely wrong. We were in a darkened hallway, wide and elaborately decorated, walking towards a brightly lit room with a decorative curtained partition hiding half of it. There were 4 ponies walking in front of me, a 5th leading them, the mares of the ministries. The first pony I recognized was Pinkie Pie, while every other problem was walking sedately through the hall. She was bouncing like a fan filly on her way into her idol's next performance. The pony was a little younger than I'd seen her before. The candy cane look was still going through, though. I felt a pang of deep embarrassment as my gaze fell on the led pony, the beautiful white unicorn I had fantasized about, and the pony I was riding just wouldn't stop staring. Colors are pretty. Thank you, my boy. Thank you, my boy. Like I said, I don't know what else to say. Oh my gosh, they're first on a live stream. Holy cow, celebrating time. Yay, bust out the party favors. Oh no, that didn't do anything good at all. Oh no. Oh, hold on a second. Oh, I have to check this. Ugh. Bear with me. I didn't know this was a thing. Okay. Bingo! Okay, shoot. Okay, we're good. We're back. Yeah. Yeah, thank you again, Crimson. Appreciate the smackaroonies. The first, oh god, where was I? Oh gosh. Like I said, there's not much more I can say besides that, you know? Felt the pain deep medicine the gaze fell on lead pony, the beautiful white unicorn I fantasized about, and the pony I was riding just wouldn't stop staring. Celestia's solar flaring mare heat. The creature I was riding wasn't a pony. He was the most definitely unbearable as a he, was as big as a stallion. I felt things were not hooves at the end of my legs, and wings folded to my back and a tail. Spike, Fluttershy asked timidly, turning around and looking at me. Doesn't that hurt? My attention was drawn to something tight and metal squeezing my head. The recollector I assumed it did not seem to be designed for whatever I was. Bro, are they arming Spike up in like combat armor crud? Opened my mouth, which felt all wrong, and answered, nah, barely feel a thing. Besides, Rarity wanted a memory of this. Oh, maybe it's their wedding day. she could have won it herself, Twilight Sparkle muttered under her breath from directly in front of me. I saw my eyes go once again to the white unicorn with the perfect purple mane. Okay, we can stop that spamming. Stop it, cut it. Cut it out! Cut it out! That's right. Oh my god. Ugh. God dang it, bro. Freaking lost where I was. White man, purple man, and a senior here being engaged in conversation with the pony I knew to be Applejack. The own pony with the 3 apple-keyed mark looked a little younger and not as rare as she had at Pinky's last party. I sure hope this ain't nothing to do with that thing we never talked about, Applejack was saying with nervous caution. Oh no, darling, I gave that project up ages ago, Rarity replied with graceful dictation. Hey, I mean, people can do whatever they want, amigo. I mean, I don't mind. Oh, the orange pony said with a clear relief. Good. As we approached, we walked across a fancy carpet woven with gemstones. I felt a cold suck as the creature I was riding stepping over it. Twilight Sparkle had stopped just ahead and turned to eye the carpet as Rarity and Applejack talked, but her attention was drawn by Rarity, loudly clearing her throat. Fluidly, Rarity shifted the subject, speaking up to address all 4 of the ponies she was leading. Now this really is just a first design, but I think you'll all be impressed. Always thrilled to see one of your designs, Rarity, Twilight Sparkle encouraged. Rarity smiled with business thankfulness. And this is just the light suit, not the fully powered version. Hold on. Gotta change this. Let's see. Let's see here real quickly. Alright, we'll do that. Rarity buzzing into me, and I do want to make it clear that I'm not trying to step on your hooves here. This armor isn't as strong as your it's Rarity, I think. Steel Ranger suits, and doesn't offer quite the protection. Then what's the point? Applejack interrupted. I don't see the use in creating armor that is less protective. The group had reached the ending of the hallway. There was a large mirror to one side of the room, and the other was filled with sewing machines, bolts of cloth, and dress ponies. Designs and schematics covered the walls at Rarity's motion. They stopped, each turning her attention towards the partition, except for my alien ride, who only had eyes for the white unicorn. Dude, you could, man. I'm not gonna be upset. I really wouldn't be. It's all good. The group had reached the ending of the hall, and the large man on one side of the wall filled with sewing machines, bolt of cloth, dress ponies, designs, and schematics covered the walls at Rarity's motion. They stopped, each turning her attention towards the partition except for my alien ride. My alien white unicorn. Well, because there is more to an outfit than just how well it stops bullets, of course. Applejack looked ready to disagree strongly, but bit back her comment. Okay, Rainbow Dash, Rarity called out. They're ready for you. Around the curtain partition stepped out the shadow out of a nightmare. A blue Pegasus pony who was encased in a black insectoid carapace, with only the front of her muzzle and the underside of her wings showing. Her tail was hidden within a scorpion-like sheath with a vicious, barbed stinger. The ebony suit of armor was sleek and wicked. Yellow-orange protective goggles with a bug-like compound eye pattern completed the look. Built into the sides of the suit were antenna-like protrusions. The crystals that tipped those magical energy weapons shimmered with a shifting rainbow light. Ladies and gentlemen, introduction to the Enclave. Oh my goodness. Wow. This is the Enclave. This is a piece of Enclave power armor. For those who don't know what that is, just search up Fallout Enclave power armor, and then you'll get an image of what they're showcasing. Obviously, it's not going to be the same. It's going to be a ponified version of it. Oh, you're welcome. That is still coming out. The crystals that tipped those magical energy... The reactions of the ponies were immediate. Eee! Whoa, Nelly! That looks demonic. Ooh, Dashy, Lou, you look scary. The creature I was riding turned to watch Rarity suddenly take off. Fluttershy, come back. It's only Rainbow Dash. We turned back in time to see Rainbow Dash push up the goggles with one armored hoof. Her eyes narrowed, a smirk running across her muzzle as she lowered her body into a menacing battle stance in front of the mirror. She growled menacingly, the armor making her look positively sinister. Oh yeah, she said, this is cool. 20% cooler, coming to a local retailer near you. Oh my gosh. Reality reasserted itself, leaving me feeling very strange. It was good to be back in my own hooves. I didn't ever want to be that thing again. Steel hooves approached me as I trotted across... wait, what? Oh. Steel hooves approached me as I trotted across Temponi Tower's monorail station. You're heading to meet that Sprite Bot friend of yours, right? I nodded, eyeing the armor-concealed warrior. Watcher, he said, surprising me. You know Watcher? I blurted out, then mentally bucked myself in the head. I had to remember to start actually asking Steelhooves questions. I know of Watcher, Steelhooves intoned. You don't live as long as we have without crossing each other's wake. It took me a moment to parse what he had said, but then I nodded. So, Watcher really has been around that long. Who is Watcher? And what is she or he or it doing? Who? That I couldn't tell. Steelhooves lifted a foreleg, looking to it. Watcher lets ponies know less about Watcher than I let them know about me. Not without good reason. He put his hoof down. As for what Watcher has a habit of finding ponies with a... Who are... I wasn't aware. I was staring at him until Steelhooves returned the stare. Watcher finds ponies who are better ponies and sets them on a path to find others, to create teams of friends. I found myself feeling nervous. I didn't like looking at my advantages from the outside like that. And then, well, most of the time, they disappear or end up dead. That was not comforting. Dude, we're gonna have to stop with those kind of comments. Stuff like that is not okay here. Yeah, we don't talk that way here. That was not comforting. Steelhooves stayed behind at the station as I trotted out alone in the celestial line. I didn't have far to go. The monorail curved around a ruined building. Ten Pony Tower disappearing from sight, and there was Watcher, the sprite bot floating silently, waiting. I have it, said flatly. Thank you, Little Pip. I knew I could trust you. Now this sprite bot has a compartment for spared batteries if you could just... No. The sprite bot floated silently for a moment. Huh? Watcher sounded perplexed. Trust goes two ways, right? I challenged. Well, yes, I relayed your message just like you asked, before you got the black opal. I nodded. Made sense, but not what I was after. Not now. I felt a fierce determination set in. Answer still no. No? You got it, but you're not going to give it to me? Oh, I'm going to give it to you, I said forcibly. In person. Watcher fell silent again. This time, I didn't wait for a response. You talk a lot about virtues and friendships. Well, friends don't run away every time a conversation turns personal. You can't have friends if you hide behind robots and never let any pony see the real you, I snorted. Hell, even Steelhooves does better than you do. You want this? I want to meet you. Why? Because I want to know if you're actually my friend or if you're just playing me too. Watcher bobbed silently a moment longer. I wondered just how much the stranger behind the curtain wanted, this black opal with the interesting but seemingly insignificant memory. Then just as I was convinced, that Watcher would tell me to go, jump off the monorail, the toneless mechanical voice said, fine. I blinked. It was the response I wanted, but... You're right, Little Pip. I heard a beep from my foreleg. I've uploaded my location into your Pip-Buck. I'll see you soon. There was a burst of static and the sprite bot floated away on a drum solo. I lifted my leg to look at my Pip-Buck. There was an icon on my equestrian map. Far, far away from Manhattan in the middle of nowhere. It would take weeks to travel there on hoof. But if Watcher thought this would dissuade me, or even delay me, then Watcher was wrong. I swear I did not spike the chat with anything before folks got here. It's the frickin' boba tea they're passing around, dude. Something's inside it. Y'all gotta stop drinking that frickin' boba tea when it's offered to you. You gotta deny like I am. Say no to the boba, dude. Don't trust it. I'd spent one more night in Ten Pony Tower with Homage, after which, Sally, it was time to leave. Our first stop was Fetlock. Calamity spent several hours underneath the Sky Bandit, installing the flux regulator and making sure everything was in working order. By the time he was done, it was getting rapidly dark. I got great news, ponies, he said as he crawled out looking greasy. We got ourselves transportation. Velvet Remedy Steel Hooves and I stomped in thunderous applause. Now this beauty is powered off an array of spark batteries, and the last 2 centuries ain't been kind. So we'll have to swap them out pretty regularly to keep her running. Wait, Velvet Remedy said with alarm. Do you mean this death trap's ability to stay afloat behind you could cut out at any moment? Calamity looked at her almost sympathetically. Nah, she'll start a sag first. Become harder to steer. We'll have plenty of warning. And I assured Velvet Remedy, if that happens, I think my telekinesis is strong enough by now to keep us going long enough to land safely. There was no way I could lift that much for a prolonged period. Not enough to travel anywhere at least, but I was completely confident that I could keep us aloft, even if the spark batteries died and Calamity fell asleep for a few hours. I don't even know what that is. The others began to gather inside the Sky Bandit. Already Velvet Remedy was cleaning it with her magic and discussing how to decorate it. Neither of the boys seemed inclined to participate. I floated out a spoon and can of sweet potatoes, opening it. I was hungry again, and I intended to eat lunch as I planned the next 3 moves. With the Sky Bandit, we could be on Watch's doorstep in less than 2 days. Little Pip, Calamity called out. Are you gonna hang out there in the rain? I paused, a spoon of sweet potatoes lifted halfway to my mouth. What? It's not— Boom! Thunder cracked directly overhead and the water came down as if somebody had turned on a giant faucet directly above me. I was soaked in an instant, my hair sagging over my face. The can filled with water, floating chunks of sweet potato out onto the ground. Leave it to a Pegasus pony to know. Tossing aside the can, now full of mostly water, I galloped into the shelter of the passenger wagon. Calamity and Velvet Remedy took shelter behind Steel Hooves as I shook hard, flinging water everywhere. There was a beautiful, piercing cry, and the Balefire Phoenix swooped in and out of the rain through a shattered window. It landed on the seat next to Velvet Remedy, whose eyes went wide. She let out a squeal of delight.
Bro, all y'all who be drinking that boba tea in the chat, y'all are the ones who are
seeing aliens, probably. That's for sure. You've named her Pyrelite? Steel Hooves asked, echoing her own thoughts as Velvet Remedy fed the bird before curling up under her blankets. We'd been traveling through the air for a day now. Ever since the cloudburst had ended, the Balefire Phoenix had remained with us, or more precisely, with Velvet Remedy. I personally found the name a little morbid. It made me wonder about my friend. We took turns sleeping and watching, passing around my binoculars. So far, nothing had shot at us. By now, we had a good idea where we were headed. It was hard to miss the giant mountain jutting up over Equestria, like one of those two spire towers. Once Steel Hooves was certain Velvet Remedy was deep asleep, he stepped over to me and whispered in my ear, "You should persuade her to spend less time in that memory orb." I looked at Velvet Remedy in the last 16 hours. She disappeared into Fluttershy's memory twice. It was like she had an addiction of her own. That's not a good memory, Steel Hooves rumbled, surprising me. I looked to him, wondering how a non-unicorn could know what the memory was. As if reading my thoughts, he answered bemusedly. I asked her. Oh, I felt like face-huffing. What's wrong with that memory? Fluttershy wasn't like the others. Rainbow Dash wanted to win the war. Applejack wanted to protect other ponies, especially after Big Macintosh died. Twilight Sparkle wanted to please the princesses, especially Celestia, Steel Hooves intoned. But Fluttershy just wanted the war to end. That memory is the moment she put her whole ministry to that purpose of finding a way to end the conflict, and she did. Uh-oh, is Fluttershy the one who freaking nuked everything? I felt a shudder. In a world where not everyone is sane, it is the height of insanity to believe you could create a weapon so devastating, so horrible, that no one would dare use it. Oh no. I looked at Velvet Remedy as she slept. The same urge that made me discard the memory from Horseshoe Tower returned, grown in order of magnitude. She loved Fluttershy, molded herself after the sweet, shy, yellow Pegasus pony. She couldn't ever learn this. Wait, I said slowly. You said no one? His odd word choice reminded me of the first conversation with Watcher. Steel Hooves answered dreadfully. Perhaps the only thing more insane than believing such a weapon would bring peace is creating such a weapon, and then giving it to both sides. Oh my god. Fluttershy created nukes. Fluttershy is Oppenheimer. Steel Hooves turned to me behind his helmet's visor. That memory, that is the beginning of the end of the world. Ultimately, Fluttershy killed us all. Oh my gosh. Kindness comes at such a price. Am I right, folks? Oh my goodness. Wow. Wow. That is impressive. We were circling the mountain, pushing upwards. It was night, and Calamity was taking the ascent slow as I guided him with my Pitbuck's map. All right, he called back. I was afraid of this. Looks like your Watcher friend lives high enough up this peak to be above the cloud level. We could be okay, but well, it ain't safe traveling above the clouds. At least nowhere there's civilization above. Every pony was awake, as was Firelight. We all nodded, readying ourselves. I had no idea what to expect when we pushed through the cloud cover, but I doubted it would be a cheerful, welcoming party with smiles and muffins. As I am aware, I'm pretty sure we all know they are visiting to see Twilight. Calamity flapped his wings, carrying us upward into the cloud current. It was like being plunged into a slightly damp fog. All I could see of the rust-colored Pegasus pulling us through the sky was a hint of his orange tail. A moment later, the Sky Bandit burst up through the cloud current, and the night sky expanded infinitely around us, filled with evil stars. A beautiful full moon hung in the sky behind the mountain peak, silhouetting it like a vertical rip in the universe. Velvet Remedy let out an awe-filled "ooh." Firelight gave a musical cry. The jaws of vertigo clamped down around me. My legs went weak, my knees giving out. Irrationally, panic told me that I would somehow be sucked out of one of the windows and fall endlessly up through space. Maybe one of the stars would get me. I clutched the side of the passenger wagon, looking down at the clouds. That was much better, and just beautiful. The clouds were laced with silver from moonlight glowing with gentle, calming light. My eyes, it was under E, spotted a glint of metal on one of the cliffs. I asked Calamity to pull us closer. I had expected it was Watcher, or at least another sprite bot, but instead it was an audio recorder. I floated into the Sky Bandit. This had better not be from Watcher, I said, starting to feel a touch pissed. I don't think so, Calamity said in front of the wagon. I slipped the audio recorder away, looking out to spy what he saw. I kicked on, my eyes for a sparkle, just in time too. According to my pitbuck, I had found Dragon Cave. I think maybe your friend sent us up here to get eaten, Velvet Remedy said aloud, staring up at the huge dark opening. The Sky Bandit lay parked on the cliff behind us. Steelhooves was helping Calamity out of the pulling harness. The pitbuck's data is 200 years old, I assured her nervously. So it was a dragon cave 200 years ago. Any pony could live in there now. Well, any pony with wings, anyway. A freed Calamity trotted up to join us. Well, y'all plan on waiting outside till the sun comes up? Then just in case we were... I don't recommend it. Velvet Remedy shook her head. Of course not. Little Pip, you go first. Oh, thanks a lot, I shot her a look. Well, Watcher is your friend. That remained to be seen. I took a step forward. There was a heavy thud from inside. Something moved in the darkness. Something coming closer. It's Spike, right? It's gotta be Spike. Something big. Ursa Majors don't grow wings, do they? Velvet Remedy asked nervously, making me want to buck her. Hard. I was frightened enough already. A dragon poked its head out of the cave, a huge, gigantic, fully adult dragon who could easily eat 2 ponies in one bite, even if one of them was Steelhooves. 3 if 2 of them were Homage and myself. Hello, little Pip. I'm Spike, the dragon said in a voice that was neither as terrifying nor booming as I had expected. And don't worry, I'm not going to eat you. Footnote, level up, new perk, Pathfinder. Travel time to remote locations in the Equestrian Wasteland is reduced by 25%. The drain on the Sky Bandit spark batteries is likewise reduced. Quest perk added, Pony Sutra. You experienced in the art of giving and receiving physical pleasure. You are more likely to have sexual encounters with specific characters. I hate that. I hate that. I don't want that more. A mare with fighting for by Passy. This story, at your discretion, may be treated as canon or non-canon following Equestria, and a manic into the lead scene of the movie. Oh my. Holy cow. Yikes. I might click that link after out of curiosity. But wow, that was interesting. I knew we were gonna get introduced to Spike. God, I hope this doesn't become more and more NSFW as it goes on. I really do, but sadly I feel like that's not gonna be the case. Oh, wow, that was good. That was fun. That was 2 chapters? No. Yeah, that was 20,000 words in one sitting. Let's see how long we were here for. We were here for approximately 3 hours. You all are so deranged. Okay, yeah, I'm just gonna end it here. Y'all are off your rockers for now, so I personally I don't even want to bother having a conversation right now. Sorry, not sorry, folks. Wow. Nope, you're on your own. Have fun. Alright, folks. I'll catch you all on the next one. Peace out. Peace. There will be more of this story down the